Chat. Oh my goodness. He's Ouroboros. He's eating himself. Look at this. Be free. What a little guy. That was worth starting early for. 1 whole minute early. What's up, guys? How many brain cells does he have? He shares the one with Artemy. Orange cat rules. He looks like a very chicken breast. No, pigeon is the chicken breast. Maybe pigeon. Well, yeah, pigeon is raw chicken, and boobin is cooked chicken. Oh, you're not going to be playing with him in here, right?
No.
I have a job. Is the cat Daniil's sibling or no? Not sibling, but they are related, I believe.
Yes.
Job. He's going to be doing that for a while. Do we even emote for Stanislav? We don't even have an emote for Daniil, okay? We're getting on it, all right?
Here, buddy.
Thanks, Dolphin Dive. I feel like shit. What on earth are you doing?
I'm putting that there so he can have it on screen.
Okay, gotcha.
Hey, buddy, come here.
Your job is to review memes and you're late. True. Your job is to review memes and you're you're never on time. Did you get enough sleep? I got marginally more sleep than I normally do. Have I seen the Super Mega situation? What's up with Super Mega? Oh, I've got good news for the channel, by the way. I'm trying this innovative new strategy for time management called a to-do list. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this before, but I'm getting a lot of work done. I've already scheduled a bunch of stuff in the near future. Sexual assault allegations? Really? That's unfortunate. The Super Mega guys have always come across quite cool. I will never get even a little work done. I'm gonna get tilted.
Set it up. I'm gonna leave him in here.
Vermin's like getting Ruben food and water, and I'm like here seething with like veins bulging out of my forehead.
He's yours now. No,
Yeah. He's behind the computer. Oh, it's warm back there. He loves it back there. He loves behind the computer. You know what's back there? Dust.
Oh, there's something.
There's something. There's nothing back there. What do you do?
Oh, it's broken. My little guy's broken.
He's not broken.
No, there's a guy.
Yeah, that's the guy. It's not broken.
It is. His tail's broken.
Oh no, we can glue it.
Grab him. I don't want Ruben eating that piece.
All right. Yeah.
And then I'll leave you.
Normally I have him right here. Must have gotten knocked off.
Yeah, Rip.
Okay, Ruben's fine.
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right. This extremely tonally consistent opening to the subject of sexual assault allegations. Okay, what's happening? Super mega controversy. Allegations support YouTube channel loses 10,000 subscribers in wake of Matt Watson's statement. Matt Watson, my oomphy, no! What's happening? Oh, boy. That's a lot of Oh, that's a lot of views. Okay. All right. Who's this person? Artist, model, cosplayer, e-girl account. Okay. All right. November 2021, I was sexually assaulted by Don at Don DRRR the first night that we had met while dating. We were both staying at Matt Watson's house. He attempted to physically force me to give him oral sex. The only reason it didn't happen was because I was forced to physically resist him when he didn't listen to my verbal commands to stop. I waited to confront Don till Creator Clash 2022, where I could keep it offline, then never see him again. But then Don was invited to Matt's house in LA. Right before I moved to LA to stay in the house, they used an office, the Super Megaplex for Super Mega. I called them before I got there to tell them what happened so I could avoid being around Don, but they gave me mixed messages. Ryan, one of support, and 2 days later from Matt, a phone call where he went into lawyer mode and promptly explained to me that technically Don isn't an employee, so we don't have to do anything, how Super Mega is his magnum opus, and how this would be very bad for them if anyone found out. Days later, they talked to Don privately at Matt's house, where they proceeded to explain to try and get his side of the story, left the conversation with Don saying he didn't know what he did wrong, and Matt and Ryan deciding for me that Don and I just needed to talk things out in person. The day before I get to their office, Matt texted me and told me he sent Don there, and I had to hide in the bathroom for him to leave. What? To dissuade you, we have deployed a rapist into the building. You will have to use amnesia dark descent mechanics to avoid being found. What? You find and hide in closets. Avoid the sanity meter going up. What? Fucking what? You fight alien isolation. It's dawn out there. Jesus. During my time at the office, every action was held against us. Me and Rav in silent until they felt appropriate to use them to kick us out, even though those things consisted of leaving to Tennessee. When I visited my mom for her birthday, even though I bought a car, leaving town to work, Rav's partner has actions, gaslight us, he was framed and we ended up homeless as a result of them icing us out and refusing to communicate to us almost completely despite staying at their job. I saw his friends asking to us around the house, corresponding to there's no communication. Robbed in the way out of and back from LA. Classic LA experience. We lost almost everything we had. We couldn't get our belongings from the office. We lived in a car, hotel to hotel for a while. Felt like I couldn't talk about what's going on for me the past year because I'd have to clearly explain things. Matt and Ryan, people didn't want to know. This seems bad, I think. Doing checking my my priors and coming to the conclusion this is probably not good. This is 2 hours and 16 minutes long. Wow. Good thing there was also a notes app accusation because that is a long video. Huh. Well, I guess I could have guessed that Matt was a piece of shit from the fact that he followed this Vosh guy on Twitter. Really, though? Yeah. Don's last message to me apologizing for assaulting me by calling it, quote, and everything before that to not right. So this is the guy who sexually assaulted her. Hey, I know you don't really want to hear from me, but I want to say I'm sorry about the trip and everything before that. I had no idea how you felt about things till you had to tell me in person, and even then I was too stupid to comprehend anything. Just really wanted to say I'm sorry about putting you through this. All I can really say is that I didn't mean for this to turn out this way. Again, I'm sorry for everything. Did I just hear lightning outside? Oh, thunder, not light. Yeah, thunder, not lightning. Okay, so I guess the TLDR is that the accusation is that this Don guy sexually assaulted her, and when she, the next year, brought it up, this led to basically a chain reaction where the super mega guys, or Matt specifically, basically went into panic mode where they didn't want this to affect their business in any way. So they like iced her out and started ostracizing her and not taking her seriously, and did this whole like, we're not gonna, by engaging with this, we're legitimizing it, which is damaging to us, so we're not gonna take it seriously. And now it's come to a head here. That's the accusation, basically. That's pretty bad. Don's weird-ass response. Has Matt made a statement? My statement on what happened with Lex, Updog, and Super Mega. The stream is all about guys called Don committing crimes. True! I want to start this off by apologizing for Lex for any trauma she may feel regarding our past relationship. To everyone who kept finding out about this, feels like being lied to or kept in the dark. Lex and I were invited over by Matt to stay at his place for a week. I'd been intimate since day one, but on the third night I asked her for oral sex, and she at first said no because she had a cold sore. Later I asked her again, and she said yes, but to be careful not to be too rough. During the intimate act, I had pushed down her head, after which she recoiled and told me I was being too rough. I then profusely apologized, and we ended up watching TV and going to bed after. Things were normal for the rest of the week until the trip was over, and we went back home. During this time, I was under no impression anything traumatizing had occurred. However, now I realize this was extremely upsetting for her. Noticed her growing very distant to me the next year. Asked her why she was distant. If everything was okay with her, I was not told a straight answer. On the final day, she finally told me why she was so troubled. She told me I was too rough with her last time and that it had reminded her of her ex's behavior. I tried to apologize for my behavior. We talked a little bit after, but after the conversation, she left, broke up with me, everybody to her friends. Huh. Yeah, unfortunately, all this is, at the moment, is he said, she said, except for the fact that Matt's weird behavior, which can be substantiated by third parties, suggests that there's more to it than that. I really don't like weighing in when it's a he said, she said. You have to consider if there are any, like, extenuating circumstances or, like, adjacent facts that lean things more towards one side or the other. Because I don't want, like, so he says that he was maybe a bit inconsiderate or rough with her, like, with putting his hand at her head, and she's saying that it was full-on, like, sexual assault, and there's obviously no way of knowing who's actually telling the truth there, or if one of them misremembers the event, or if both of them misremember the event. However, the weird behavior with Matt and the Super Mega show and the stuff about being homeless and being kicked out and everything suggests to me it's more likely that they're in the wrong, though obviously it's not really possible to know. Yeah, it's unfortunately there's like a lot that you just cannot know. And I don't like being super decisive when it doesn't feel like there's heavy evidence in one direction or another. Though I still think there should be like a general statement of respect and consideration towards people who put forward the accusation. Yeah, the thing that's most suspicious is their behavior towards her after the fact, not the, like, inciting incident of alleged sexual assault. Matt took to Twitter, said he was going to be canceling his shows. Wait, what? What does this have to do with... Okay. Why does Twitter hyperlink to something Justin Sane did? What? Okay. Can I... Okay. Whatever. Huh. Well, yeah, unfortunately, I just don't feel like there's very much I can say concerning this. What's the internet discourse? Ruben is absolutely zipping right now. Hello, oh, on my lap. Hey, this is the first time you've jumped up on my lap. The former employee Foolish Kia is liking tweets that side with Lex. Yeah, I wonder if they're liking those tweets because of the weird behavior that followed the alleged sexual assault, or if it's because of the sexual assault itself. It's just on my elbow. All right. Let me see. Super Mega. So is Matt an enabler, or like what happened? The accusation is that when Matt learned that sexual assault had taken place at his house a while back, his response was to like freak out and deny and ostracize and just remove himself from the thing entirely. Boobin. Is it good or bad that I don't know who any of these people are? You don't have to. It's fine. It's fine. It's immaterial to the accusations. Yeah, the fact that Too Mad is playing the who to believe thing probably means that Lex Updog was sexually assaulted. What if Too Mad has an opinion, it's probably safe to take the opposite side. That's a good general bias to have, I think. Oh man, he's gonna be losing it all fucking day, I swear to God. Who the hell is Too Mad? Just don't worry about it. Always with the questions. Who's this? Who's that? What's Google? Do a Google. Or don't. Doesn't matter. I just assume all gaming channels are run by sexual abusers. Yeah, I don't know. I without knowing more, I don't want to say anything definitive about Matt or the Super Mega Show because you know, I think that respect and consideration should always be given when people make claims that they've been victimized or sexually assaulted or anything like that. Obviously, in terms of like full on believing stuff, I don't feel like I don't feel it's good to believe that there's an obligation to always take a definitive 100-0 side on anything, even if there's no way of knowing for sure, or even having like heavy evidence skewing one way or another. Maybe more people will come forward, or like more details will be revealed. I think it's more likely than not that something bad happened to the girl, but. Lex cosplayer is the one who blew up a while ago. Oh, this one? Oh my God, this bitch is a celebrity. And a soldier. The bravery of sitting cheeks out next to a dumpster in an alley. For me, Super has a history of acting like this in situations, and it definitely makes it more believable for me. You mean like them panicking and freaking out and distancing themselves from anybody who made an accusation because they don't want it to taint their brand? That kind of thing? That is such a common response, and it's so wild because, like, it never works, right? If something bad happened kind of under your jurisdiction as a content creator and it gets known, you want to be like the first one on that. You want to try to address it internally, and like if necessary you go public and you're like, hey, listen, due to some events which took place, I no longer feel comfortable doing this, that, the other. But like that never happens. You remember the shit with like Smash Bros Jeffrey Epstein, what was his name? Sky Williams, where like there was all this shit and like grooming going on in the Smash scene, and Sky Williams was like trying to keep the house up, because a lot of it was happening literally at his house, and he didn't want to like blow the whole thing up, but then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. When was the last time you heard anything from Sky Williams, right? Like, his career was kind of done after that. I'm sure he still does stuff, but like, he was way prominent before all of that. And yeah, not anymore. I never knew about this. Yeah, well, he used to be in Donkey videos, but now he's not, because Donkey was smart enough to cut him off. He's gone. What happened to Sky? I literally just said. I just said. Zetaram, Zetaram, I literally just said what happened to Sky Williams. That was the subject of the last minute of the things that I was saying. What do you listen? Who's this? Who's this? Who's that? What chat? Chat. Holy shit. Has Game Grumps made a statement? Why would Game Grumps make a statement? What did JonTron do now, retrospectively 10 years ago? Who's Biden? Yeah. Jingle some keys while you talk? Yeah, it's the only way to keep people up around here. They're friends with Super Mega? Oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks, Logical Pretzels. Super Mega used to edit for Game Grumps. Dude, Game Grumps is like the fucking precursor to so much shit online. It's crazy. Yeah, JonTron hasn't really said anything controversial lately either. At least not that I've noticed, but yeah. Okay. What the fuck is one mustache hair doing pointing up? Oh my god. Guys, if you don't have facial hair, never grow it. It's such a pain in the ass. Being a Smash Bros. Player in the Vosh community is painful AF, Lamau. Look, just don't groom children. You're fine. The honest truth, though, is that, like, the thing that everyone associates with Smash happens all over the place in gaming. It maybe happened disproportionately with Smash because Smash has, like, a very mixed audience in terms of age ranges. But, like, this shit happens in gaming tournaments and professional scenes all over the place everywhere. It's not like there's any genre of video games that doesn't have teenagers watching it. What is this? Oh yeah, I saw somebody covering this. Piers Morgan grills, quote, female Andrew Tate over Pearl Davis over her anti-Semitic song. So this was like a red pill chick whose whole thing on YouTube, we've covered her a couple times before, is like, hey guys, I'm a woman and women like being beaten up and called ugly, and the only way to be an alpha male is to be misogynistic. But then she doesn't really have any beliefs outside of the fact that she wants money. So she pivoted towards Nazi stuff recently. Like explicitly, like hanging out and agreeing with Nick Fuentes. She did a song where she blamed the Jews for everything, that kind of thing. And she debated Ethan Klein. And she has no charisma, and she doesn't believe anything that she says. So, if anything, I think it's kind of like dumb to have her on, especially a program like Piers Morgan, because, you know, it's like, if she doesn't believe anything that she's saying, there's no meaningful engagement. I mean, she just gave up while talking to Ethan Klein. It was pretty pathetic. But
welcome back to Piers Morgan. Pearl Davis.
I don't even. Piers Morgan's shit too, but Piers Morgan is dumb. Yeah, and he's also far right. He's just not a Nazi.
Is the self-styled anti-feminist influencer who's creating major buzz online.
Oh my! Holy shit! She looks like a NPC in a David Cage game. This is like Detroit Beyond Human.
Is creating major buzz online with a contrarian view. She's appeared in a couple of debates on this show. It's called Uncensored after all. We welcome any honestly held opinions. But this week, she's facing a major backlash for posting a song titled Why Can't We Talk About the Jews, which she dedicated to far-right commentator Nick Fuentes before later deleting it.
Why can't we talk?
Okay, I'm bored already. I don't even care. This is all just attention farming. This is like the apex of why I stopped going to those like shitty conservative debate panel things where everything is controlled by conservatives. There are 50 cons to every one liberal, and they're all there to farm billions of views off engagement. Watch the beginning, please. No, it's boring. It exists for no reason other than for mutual content farming. Like, Pearl doesn't believe in anything. She would adopt any positions. There's nothing. There's no idea being tested. It's just an idiot. And Piers Morgan's not even smart or charismatic enough to meaningfully challenge anything. The way you react to people like this is to make fun of them. He's going to act morally indignant. That's different. Moral indignation doesn't work against insincere grifters because they find it funny that you care more than they do. Oh my god. Fine. Like, 1 minute.
Talk about without getting kicked off.
Had some spirited
The whole
debates
thing? We're just playing the whole thing?
about feminism and stuff like that. And I thought you made some good points and it's got lots of traction. Then I wake up the other day and I see this thing that's trending involving you doing this song.
Don't care.
About cancel culture and people getting kicked off of social media if you finish the song. It was more about, like, you can't talk about this topic without being canceled by the left and the right. I don't really have a strong opinion either way. It was kind of just like tongue in cheek.
See, again, she doesn't believe, it's nothing. It was just attention bait. She tweeted the other day that 16-year-old girls are more attractive than 26-year-old girls. It got 50 billion views from everyone quote tweeting her, and then she deleted it. She does this all the time. She doesn't believe in anything. That's it. It's all attention bait. It does not matter. None of it matters. You skipped her being panicked? She's not panicked. No, you guys don't understand. If she ever looks panicked, she's faking it. For one, she's high on uppers right now. For two, she doesn't believe anything that she's saying. The only reaction that she's going to get here, or the only reaction she can get are ones that benefit her. It's all outrage reaction shit. This is why, this is like the debate circuit that I left. There's no point to any of it. It's just attention. Go back, there's a funny moment? No! You're wrong, she didn't answer for like 10 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna go back. And if this isn't her actually acting in a way that indicates genuine, like, emotional or astonishment or something, then I'm going back and I'm banning everyone who said I had to go back.
You've come on the show a couple of times, right? We've had some spirited debates about feminism and stuff like that. And I thought you made some good points and it's got lots of traction. Then I wake up the other day and I see this thing that's trending involving you doing this song. And I couldn't really believe what I was watching. I didn't know, why did you find it funny?
Huh?
Did you find it funny? I mean, you know the backlash to it. I mean, you deleted it. You obviously thought you shouldn't have posted it. Why did you do that? Genuine question.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. He fucking owned her when she started laughing when he brought up the things she did for attention and then paused for a bit because she has no charisma and because she's on uppers. What? Like, oh, wow, dude, that was the epic own, man. When she did a thing deliberately to get attention and then went on a talk show, and then he brings up the thing she did to get attention. Do you think she didn't know that would get brought up like that? Like, oh, the person who's only known for doing clickbait Nazi attention whore shit right now is now astonished that that specific thing she did for attention got brought up in a context where somebody else would bring... Like, oh, man, oh, God, you're right. I should get back in the debates. I should have everyone... I should have Nick Fuentes on my stream, though, again, he's been hiding from an open invite for 3 years now, so probably not going to happen. But I should have him on, and I should be like, I saw this tweet from a few years ago, Fuentes, where you said 1488. And then he's going to be like, yeah. And then all the people in chat are going to be like, you got him, bro. You got him. You brought that up. People didn't know that before. People thought he was a regular guy before, but now I hate you guys. I hate you all so much. Way to start the stream. The stream's ruined. My week's ruined. My month's ruined. My year's ruined. This bitch is boring. I don't care. Let's move on. That was very clearly a nervous laugh. Have you seen her? Did you see her on Ethan Klein's show? She's just lacking in charisma. She's not nervous. Is that Ruben? Ruben's hidden. You said you would ban? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, she does the grifter laugh like Hinkle. Guys, trust me, okay? I know far more about identifying grifters than you do, okay? My whole life is swimming through them. Like, there's like 5 authentic people in this space, and I'm all 5 of them. It's so, like, I've gotten so good at immediately identifying when a person doesn't give a shit and there's no point in talking to them. I've developed this as a defensive mechanism because it's very important to me to know when there's no point in talking to them. Where is Ruben? Eh, he's probably fine. He's tiny. Okay, what the fuck is this? I'm blocked by that person, Imperatus. I did see this, yeah. Classic RFK banger. Right here. Since the assassination of my father... Oh, sorry, I have to do this in his voice. Since the assassination of my father... I don't... How do you do his voice? I don't think I can get my voice that fucked up. I'm sorry. In 1968, candidates for president are provided Secret Service protection, but not me. Typical turnaround time for pro forma protection requests from presidential candidates is 14 days. After 88 days of no response and after several follow-ups by our campaign, the Biden administration has denied our request, blah, 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 blah. Not all presidential candidates get Secret Service protection. That's not a guarantee at all, and that's not standard either. It's a deliberate dog whistle. Probably a retarded coincidence? Nah. The last time this guy made headlines, it was because he said COVID was a bioweapon that mysteriously didn't target Jews. Also, nobody talks like this. 88 days specifically, it would say 2 weeks, 3 months. It's not a coincidence. It's just not. There's no reason to be charitable here. What's 1488? Nazi dog whistle. I mean, that's the point of a dog whistle, right? Vosh, it's 120 days out from the general that you get Secret Service protection. He's deliberately lying to 1488. Yeah, it was just done for the dog whistle. Oh yeah, why the dashes as well? Weird. Maybe he has a Nazi running his Twitter. I mean, maybe. There are Nazis all over the DeSantis organization. I mean, RFK is a conspiracy-addled lunatic who exclusively communicates with the far right, who's already said weird shit about Jews and Jewish conspiracy theories specifically. And the only people who pay any attention to him are the kinds of people who resonate with Nazi dog whistles. So it makes sense, you know, it fits. Can you watch the crystal ball reaction to Barbie? Oh yeah, I saw that the other day. What was that? The other day we did say something positive about Kyle Kalinske, so we have to balance it out by trashing his wife.
All right, folks, let's talk Barbie. Now, the first thing you should know is I was really cheering for this movie, for real. I like the Barbie core aesthetic. It was fun to see this whole big cultural moment around it, which isn't really a thing.
Spoilers. Watch the damn movie.
That happens very often anymore. And just before I went in, I saw Ben Shapiro whining on Twitter about how his producers made him see it and it was so woke and terrible, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, I really wanted him to be.
I'm gonna add the spoilers text on the thing, okay? Here, look. Okay, right here. So when this thing is gone, there are no longer any spoilers happening. Okay, when that disappears, we're good. Okay.
Completely wrong. But as it dragged on, an interminable 2 hours of dated, predictable contrivances, the verdict became undeniable.
Wait, hold on. What contrivances? The plot didn't really have any coincidences. What do you mean contrivance? What do you mean dated? What?
Barbie movie is atrocious. Look, I am all for creative content with a good political message. White Lotus, loved it. Squid Game, Loved it. I'm all for a kids-oriented movie that has jokes that go over the kids' heads. Legos movies, for example. Genuinely funny, some real political undertones. Or The Lorax, which is more overtly political but still succeeds as a great kids movie.
Wait. The Lorax is shit. What do you mean? Wait. Hold on. Losing some credibility for our movie critiques here.
Kids can sing every line from Let It Grow, and therefore, for better or worse, so can I. This movie was not funny or entertaining or family friendly. I breathed.
Dude, oh my god, is she gonna do the PG-13 thing like Ben Shapiro did as well? Is she like it's the PG-13? But okay, we can't keep doing this, guys. I don't know how many times we're gonna have the movie say PG-13. They say the word vagina in it. Like, it's not a kid's movie. Like, it can't be compared to the Lorax. They wouldn't have said vagina in the Lego movie.
A sigh of relief that I was out of town, so I did not make the mistake of bringing my 6-year-old and having to explain jokes about penises. And
oh my god! It has the same rating as Avengers Endgame. And in Avengers Endgame, they still don't say penis and vagina. What? Dude, what is with people? What is wrong with people? What is happening? They have a rating system. What?
Ecological exams. It was mildly horrifying to sit alongside little girls in their Barbie merch as they suffered through vulgar humor and a plot that was completely impenetrable for the kids, while
how is the plot impenetrable for the kid? What? It's PG-13. What do you want? I don't understand. You can bring kids to a PG-13 movie, but that doesn't mean that it's for them in terms of specific age targeting. The Lorax is rated G. The Lego movie, if I remember correctly, was rated PG. This is PG-13. If people want to bring their kids to that, that's fine. They're allowed to. It's America. That doesn't mean that... I am, like, genuinely concerned by the degree of, like, moral puritanism that is infesting every level of this country. The idea of people going to a PG-13 movie and bulking because there's a joke about a gynecologist, and like, this is inappropriate, fuck you, then die. I don't care. Go at home, never leave and die. Don't go for groceries. What the fuck you mean? Stop ruining everything. Tearing apart everything. Like, just don't see it then.
Still managing to be thoroughly predictable for all of the grown-ups. No star actor or immaculate set design was going to rescue this mess. All right.
Can we get, like, any specific example, or?
So, women run around in Playboy bunny outfits. Barbie then returns alongside her new sassy human companions, a put-upon mom and an angsty tween. The three of them overthrow Ken and resubjugate him, but Barbie decides all of this Barbiedom perfection is no longer for her. She's going to become a real girl, embrace the complicated reality of the real world, and presumably climb the corporate ladder. Late-stage girl boss stuff. Sheryl Sandberg would be so proud.
She never said she was going to climb the corporate ladder, and it wasn't girl boss stuff at the end. The bit at the end was about her becoming a human, not her becoming a real woman. They never used the term real woman. It was her becoming a human being. It was about the distinction between being an idea and a person. It had nothing to do with her climbing the corporate ladder as a girl boss. She left the girl boss zone, which was Barbie Land. That was the point. Also, does anyone else feel like the plot as she described was not like the plot you would expect from a Barbie movie? Like, she was about how the plot was, like, boring and predictable and stereotypical. I thought a plot about a Barbie movie would be like one of the existing Barbie movies, which would be like, Sparkle Fairy Princess Land needs saving because of blah blah. Like, that crap, you know? Not, they live in an alternate bubble dimension where they're a concept, then they go to the real world and then bring ideas from the real world. But that's a little bit, like, high concept for what I'd consider a Barbie movie to be. But, I mean, I liked it. I don't know.
Now, the whole thing is way too preachy to be enjoyable or even...
Oh, dude, she's actually... the shift is complete. We've now reached the... I don't know why this feminist movie with a feminist director about feminism was preaching about feminism. You liked Parasite? Yeah. Dude, she was like, yeah, I liked Squid Game, which was extremely subtle with its anti-rich, anti-capitalist message. But this movie, with its feminist stuff,
even to really be very effective as propaganda. It's sort of like AI wrote a screenplay based on 2010's white feminism, not to mention the radicalism level.
The feminism in the film wasn't white feminism? What white feminism is a derogatory term for uplifting girl boss feminist empowerment that only really benefits white women and ignores the experiences of non-white women. The feminist messaging in the film didn't really have any racial coding to it. It was just pretty broad stuff about the hypocrisies of the patriarchy and the expectations women experience. There wasn't anything white feminism about it. And also, it wasn't 2010s feminism either. The messaging was straight out of basic critical theory feminism. It was right out of like very basic second wave stuff. It wasn't like, yeah, I don't know what the only mention of race really, apart from the smallpox and natives comparison, was when the dad, who you only see twice in the whole movie, the dad of the the real humans that Barbie interacts with, is a white guy trying to learn Spanish, which was just like cute and funny. Like he was on the couch playing with Duolingo. That was just cute. I mean, I don't think that was like, I don't think that was racialized. And when the girl called her white savior Barbie, yeah. The funny thing is, the one time there was a point where a white woman did a feminism at a non-white woman, she immediately gets called white savior Barbie in a self-aware bit there. Like the movie's like aware of the tropes that it's deliberately or not deliberately playing off of. Crystal is completely off here. This is just so to be clear, Crystal lies nonstop to appease a conservative audience on Breaking Point's. Breaking Point's audience is exclusively populist conservative. There is not like some secret hidden contingent of leftist feminists who watch it. So, you know, she's just like grifting towards them.
Is firmly set on safe for the army of brands that are raking in money off of this crap. It's a dumb person's idea of a smart move.
Army of brands? It's Mattel. Yes, the movie of a Mattel product that features Mattel in it is profitable for Mattel. Okay.
A liberal's idea of a revolutionary message. One might ask why Mattel would choose to associate with the movie that was basically made by someone who clearly hates their product.
Oh, dude, she's actually doing the Ben Shapiro thing. This is just conservative grifting. This bitch. Nothing about the movie indicates that it hates the This is, dude, she's like Frankensteining a conservative argument together where like there is no reason anybody would come away from this movie with the conclusion that it hates Barbie unless they're reading it from a brain-dead conservative perspective. But she's also trying to say that feminism was basic and wasn't revolutionary enough. She's cobbling together arguments that are inconsistent with each other. Anybody who recognizes that the feminism in the movie is relatively safe would not accuse it of hating Barbie because they realized the feminist message in the movie was in line with the target messaging for Barbie. And anyone who argues the other way around, that it was super radical feminism, would then go on to argue that it hates its own product. She's trying to like cut and paste all of the different arguments she could use against it, regardless of their consistency.
The answer is obvious in the film because it never strays beyond the surface level consumer-friendly critique. Basically, yes, we realize Barbie's...
So it's consumer-friendly, but it also hates the product? Like, think about what she's saying for a second. These arguments don't make sense with each other. It was a basic, predictable movie. It was safe. It was white girl 2010s feminism, but also it hates Barbie. So why would Mattel associate with it, even though it was made to benefit the brand? It like that, no consistency, just spewing out whatever the fuck she has on her mind.
His body and ethos was unobtainable, but we fixed it now. So you can go out, buy our products for your little girls, and it's basically like you're fighting the patriarchy.
See, again, why would she just say that while arguing that Mattel shouldn't have associated with the movie because the movie clearly hates their products? The reason I'm pausing here specifically is because I want to make it clear this is how I identify a grifter. It's not when a person is wrong. Everyone is wrong except for me. A person is a grifter, or at least identifiable as one, when their arguments don't make sense or adhere to any consistent internal logic, because they're not deriving these positions from internal logic. They're deriving it from other things, like, say, economic considerations or popularity. These are no single human of their own mental faculties could arrive at these arguments in tandem and believe all of them at once. I feel like that applies to most people. It's true that everyone has a degree of inconsistency, but when you're excessively inconsistent in a manner which is so flagrant and blatant and obvious, and it all just happens to line up with what conservatives in your audience would want to hear, yeah, grifting. Can you guys stop talking about Kyle? I would love to talk about Kyle without seeing chat talk about Crystal, and Crystal without Kyle. I like, can you guys stop? Okay? My unironic answer for this is that love does crazy things. And I have no interest in evaluating the perceived, like any dynamic here, okay? Kyle and Crystal are separate people.
There is one throwaway line from the angsty tween about Barbie promoting consumerism, but you can't really take it seriously given the context that the whole movie rollout is a hyper-capitalist wet dream.
No, you can't take it seriously because it was framed in movie as an angsty tween statement, like you just said. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously because it was said by an angry middle schooler who was clearly and textually trying to hurt Barbie's feelings. It was not meant as a serious critique of Barbie. It was meant as a caricature of like leftist critiques of Barbie.
According to Hollywood Reporter, Barbie has attracted more than 100 promotional partners worth tens of millions of dollars to Mattel, from custom pink Crocs to a Prada clothing line to hair dryers and everything in between. Merchants and brands rushed to cash in on Barbie mania.
Remember, she asked why Mattel would want to associate themselves with this movie.
While companies including Progressive Insurance and General Motors used Barbie in custom TV and digital advertisements, per Hollywood Reporter. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav promoted Barbie across his various properties, including an HGTV Barbie design competition, low-key sounds more interesting to me than the movie, a Food Network Barbie bake-off, and Barbie promotion graphics generously sprinkled across 15 different networks. Turns out the patriarchy Barbie insists she's subverting is getting wildly rich off.
The movie textually acknowledges that Barbie does not subvert the patriarchy. The opening lesson that Barbie learns when going to the real world is that in spite of the existence of Barbie, which she believed had empowered and uplifted all women, the real world is still deeply patriarchal. The movie literally acknowledges... In the movie, the company Mattel is greedy and insincere with their concern for feminism. The movie talks about this. And notice how she just did the actual conservative talking point, which is, wow, so your movie claims to be progressive, but corporations made money off of it. Thank you for your high IQ perspective on this issue, Crystal Ball. I don't know why she opened this by saying she saw Ben Shapiro getting mad over it, because this isn't any smarter than the Ben Shapiro review. It's just as stupid.
Her dated girl power platitudes and merchandise. The real moral of
the final moral was not a dated girl power platitude. It was about the difference between being a person and an idea. The final like theme, or I guess the final like scene of Barbie is the idea that, you know, Barbies are an idea and that there is something distinct between what they represent and actual personhood. And real personhood involves, you know, inconvenient stuff like aging, dying, and gynecologist visits. It's an indication that while Barbie as an idea might bring joy to some people, we have to acknowledge that these aren't standards that humans are meant to live by because they're literally not human. It was in the movie. It was in the movie, dude.
Barbie movie for me is that you can make a dog shit movie and still make a fortune with the right marketing strategy. Quite the opposite of go woke and go broke, I suppose. In the resolution to the film, Barbie rejects her iconic ultra femme look for a sensible blazer and pale pink Birkenstocks, signaling to all the young girls and women out there that to be an evolved, complex woman, you should take off some of the sparkle.
She doesn't even remotely say that. It's because she shifted from being a Barbie in Barbie Land, where everything is cartoonishly pink, to the real world, where people don't dress like that. Barbie wanted to live as a human, not as a human wearing Barbie clothes every day. The distinction between Barbie as an idea and humans as people is made clear consistently throughout the film. That's why she shifted. In real life, women who wear glitzy pink clothing don't usually walk around looking like Barbie. Because Barbie is a toy. That's the point. She shifted into a human approximation of her pre-existing personality traits. She didn't have to give up being a glam fashion model or super feminine or whatever. She still is at the end. She's just doing it in ways that align with human culture.
Hide your curves. Limit the glam.
Hide your curves? Just completely, just moon out there. I didn't think I'd be doing this 2 streams in a row. Completely made up. Why are conservatives literally so rushed to fight against this movie? Because it's a feminist movie. And she's anti-feminist.
Modest is hottest, ladies. And
She's not even remotely modest as a human. I don't know Barbie at end of movie. Is there like a picture I could find of what she looks like? I don't think the movie only came out a little bit ago. I don't think I'm gonna find a screenshot or like a or anything that shows what she looks like. She doesn't look modest. She looks like a fashion model at the end because she looks like one. That's okay.
an odd fit for a moment when young girls are joyfully embracing and reclaiming the Barbie aesthetic, not out of repression, but actually out of power. As my 15-year-old informed me, Y2K bimbo is in. And why shouldn't it be? In the year of our Lord 2023, we got deeper issues than whether or not Barbie's tits are out, okay? And
What argument is she making? Is she suggesting that the movie is arguing against what? Have you seen what Barbie dresses? What she dresses like? In the opening scene that was shown in this video, she's on a beach and she's wearing like a low cut beach vest thing, and she from this perspective it's like she's just wearing panties. She's not. The movie doesn't promote modesty at all. I don't know. She looks like a Texas stripper here, and it's great. Yeah, okay. She's just making shit up. There's nothing in this movie argues that you have to not be glam. Vosh ending outfit? That's not the ending outfit.
more fundamental issues than the diversity ratios on corporate boards, while they are systematically busting unions, screwing workers, and buying off politicians. And speaking of that,
here's where we do the fake populism thing, where we pretend that this isn't just a conservative screed by randomly talking about union busting in a review of the Barbie movie, two concepts which are disconnected. But she has to remind people she's not a conservative because Breaking Points tries to pull people from the center to the right by pretending to not just be conservative.
a far more profound and revolutionary message is being sent to studios like Warner Brothers by the actors and writers who are out on strike right now, demanding a small sliver of the vast wealth created by their work. So here's my advice for what it's worth. If you really want to mess with the patriarchy, take your Barbie ticket money and popcorn cash and send it to a strike fund instead.
Okay. What if people want to see a popular, good movie, but also want to support the strike? What if they want to do both of those things? Could they see the movie and then send additional money over?
Sagar, there was no part of this.
Huh? I don't know. You know I'm working, right?
That I really enjoyed.
Oh, he's right over there. He's on the emery board by Lizard. Yeah, I see him. He's wiggling.
By
funny.
the end, I just wanted it to be over.
I'm realizing I really think that this is also a difference in audience because
Could be.
I was telling you, I watched it with a bunch of very raucous, drunk gays here in Washington.
There we go. Oh, you know Sagar's in the closet. He's way too well dressed. Always with the haircut, always with the beard trim. You know it.
DC, and they were loving the movie. They were
feeling the Kenergy.
They were feeling the Kenergy. A lot of the women who were in the audience are exactly the type who love like Lehman Fem. So I was just like, hey, you know, it's almost you get caught up in the crowd.
Hyper.
You're like, yeah, you know, everyone's loving the jokes, like they love the core message of it. So
I can't believe the first conservative I'm hearing acknowledge the fact that the movie is mostly being seen by adults is Sagar fucking and Jetty. Jesus Christ. Seriously, the theater that I went to had a couple of girls, but it was filled with adults. And the movie felt fine to watch as an adult. Like, I didn't feel like I was watching a kid's movie with jokes thrown in for adults. I felt like I was watching a movie that was just fine. I didn't feel patronized to.
I guess I just didn't look even as political. I was like, yeah, generic center-left movie is going to be generic center-left. I enjoyed a lot of the Ken humor. I thought it was funny. Like Ken,
Fuck.
The
Oh my fucking God.
Like,
Dude.
I don't want to issue too many spoilers.
It's like the wraparound, man. Holy shit. Crystal's desperately, pathetically trying to appeal to the conservatives in their audience, and Sagar doesn't care enough to. So Crystal just lies about the movie for 10 minutes, and or 5 minutes, whatever. And then Sagar's like, I watched it. I thought it was pretty good. Watched it with some of the queers. Had a great time. You know, it was pretty funny. Haha. Love that energy. And Crystal is like quietly seething because she's like, well, did I have to go that hard? Did I have to lie that much?
So if you haven't seen it, I recommend you.
I mean, I already did the whole plot in my thing.
Fair
so
enough.
Spoiled already.
But just like some of the jokes, like the Ken dance off, or what else am I thinking of? Like the Mount Rushmore filled with horses. There were like intermittent laughs and all those things. I thought it was light, and I didn't find that it was plotting. I didn't think it was, well, maybe because I saw Oppenheimer that morning, so anything could be.
That could be.
Maybe a little short. So I don't know. I saw it and I was like, huh, that was humorous. I wasn't like, I love this movie. It's the greatest movie I've ever seen. I was like, it was kind of fun. But I'm telling you, my audience was obsessed with this movie. Like, would not stop talking about it.
That is so funny because I'm telling you, there was about to be a revolt among the like working class black audience that brought their little girl.
Oh yeah, the working class. Oh my fucking God, it's so transparent. Yeah, that's right. Crystal went to the theater with a working class black audience with their children, and she, you know, as a real progressive populist, she saw with all her brothers and sisters, I think she could fairly say, with all her homies from the hood, as she would be allowed to say from them, her good friends, that they were all really mad, you know. So actually, when she regurgitates conservative arguments that Sagar Enjeti hilariously doesn't reflect himself, she can go, oh, right, well, all of my Ben Shapiro tier arguments were from the working class black families I saw Barbie with, you know. Yeah, she flew to the south side of Chicago to see Barbie. She was over there in East LA, you know, just having a grand old time. She didn't make the classic mistake. She didn't bring any beans, so she couldn't drop them when a black teenager says she's eating beans, you know. Is Crystal a grifter, or is she just dumb? She's a grifter. I don't think she's dumb.
Girls there, and I'm talking, there were tiny kids. There were, you know, little girls of all ages.
I could 100% see that.
And also a mom, so I would have, I think, because I wouldn't have paid close attention. It's PG-13 is the rating. I wouldn't have paid close attention. I would have been like, it's probably fine, you know, and I'd.
Oh my God, dude, how can you? The whole point of the rating board is to give you can what? How is this the movie's fault? This is this is the attitude that like drag queens shouldn't be allowed to perform in adult only bars extrapolated to movies, where it's not enough to keep like kids safe, quote unquote, you know, massive finger quotes there. But we need to like destroy all elements of social sexuality that are considered deviant. Because there might hypothetically be a child that was deliberately brought there by an adult. If you Google Barbie rating, what's it? It's the MSRB, right? That's the name for the movie review board. PG-13 for sexual suggestions and some language. So if ever you're confused in the future, you can look that up. You could also look at one of the 50 million like Christian parent websites where they're like, what in this movie will make you go to hell? Parents Guide, is Barbie movie appropriate for kids under 13? As always, you know your kids best. This is a fun movie with so many incredible meta moments in it. I think most kids 10 and up could safely watch based on the content alone. The kicker will be themes and mature discussions. Some kids won't be ready for those kinds of discussions under the age of 13. If you have concerns, please pre-screen this one. I can't wait to go back and see Barbie in the theaters again, so you probably won't mind going twice. This statement was made by the most normie soccer mom in existence. The human being who wrote this out does not know what politics is. They don't know what the word means, okay? They have no idea. And somehow they have still arrived at a less like default hardline social conservative position than Crystal has here, where she's like, well, the fact that parents are legally allowed to bring their children, I think all parents who bring their children to this movie should be shot because they're groomers. Christ alive. Also, fuck off. Quit pretending like the kids you choose to bring to the movie will be hurt by the mention of the word vagina. Shut the fuck up. Literally, I'm putting my fucking foot down with this conservative horse shit, okay? The idea of like, oh man, well actually the only way to protect our children is that you can't even mention where babies come from until they're 18. You have to tell them the stork brought it. Fuck off. Quit. You're insane. You're actually insane, okay? You're insane. It's not even a sexual term. It's a fucking term to refer to a thing that basically all humans have between penis and vagina. And like, what is it? Like, what do you, what, do you have a kid and they're like 11 or something? And they're like, you know, oh, I fucking tripped and fell and I hurt my, and you're like, your dingling? And they're like, yeah, my dingling. And you're like, oh, like, what are you doing as a parent? Fuck off. Give your children away to an orphanage. They'll treat them better.
Likes dolls, so I'll bring her, you know? And thank God I didn't, because seriously, early on, there's this scene with the Kens where they're joking about beaching each other off. And I was so shocked by...
Oh my God, a thinly veiled sex joke in a PG-13 movie? That's fucking crazy, bro. I can't fucking believe that shit. Dude, these people couldn't watch SpongeBob. Legit, these people could not watch SpongeBob because every episode would have something that was meant for the adults and they would freak out. Like, this is a level of social conservatism that precludes you from participating in society. This isn't even about conservatism, dude. This is like puppet theaters in 1837 were more raunchy than this.
Having that in what is ostensibly like this kid's movie.
It's PG. It's not ostensibly. Nobody said that. Nobody said it's a kid's movie. The only people I've heard this from are conservatives who are feigning outrage at it. It's not a kid's movie. It's PG-13. Would you call every PG-13 movie a kid's movie? That's the rating. Would you call that a kid's movie? Why? If so, why? Is Avengers Endgame a kid's movie? People get fucking decapitated in PG-13 movies. You know that, right? All of the Marvel movies are PG-13. Frequent references to sex, people getting decapitated, shot through the chest. And this is it? This is the line? Everything has to be R-rated. That's the problem with American media. We don't have strict enough ratings, okay? Never mind the fact that over in Iceland, okay, a facial gets you a fucking PG-7 rating or whatever. But over here, seeing one tit is an instant R rating, despite literally every kid having seen a tit at some point in their life. And then like, no, that's not enough. Now making jokes like two Kens saying, I'm gonna beat you off. This needs to have a fucking X rating, okay? When you go into the theater and you say, yeah, can I see the Barbie movie? You'd better fucking be ready with your goddamn driver's license. You'd better be ready with your fucking passport, okay? This shit needs to be kept away from children.
With all these little girls sitting around me that I just refuse to believe that they actually intended that joke to be what I thought it was. And then there's all these jokes about like...
Excuse... What?
In what is ostensibly like this kid's movie with all these little girls sitting around me that I just refuse to believe that they actually intended that joke to be what I thought it was.
Are you a fucking infant? Are you a fucking baby child? Are you fucking retarded? Yeah, it was a masturbation joke. Is this a fucking joke? Yeah, sorry that your fucking dumb shit theater mates brought children to a PG-13 movie, you fucking moron. Did you bring your kid? That's your fault. What do you mean? Yeah, it's a jerk-off joke. What do you, like, literally, the bar, like, fucking Crystal LARPs is some kind of, like, progressive populist, and here she is, hands shaking, pearls clutched and quivering, because there was a thinly veiled masturbation joke in a PG-13 movie. Fucking pathetic. Fucking pathetic. The soccer mummification. All right. Between this and Anna Kasparian, I'm saying it, okay? Mother-aged women shouldn't be allowed to be political commentators for populist causes. I'm sorry. Something happens in your brain. I don't know if it's having kids. I don't know if it's being birthing people. I don't know if it's suburbia. I don't know if it's driving. I don't know if it's the fact that you guys are the ones who wear pearls to clutch. Men don't tend to wear pearls. I don't know what it is. What's going on? I'm asking, what's going on? What is this shift from populism to, like, radical pearl clutch gas leak conservatism? What is happening? What's happening? Nobody told me that Hooters wasn't a kids venue. My sister's like this. You are right. Yes, I stand by my position. We need to have politics only being done by men. Statistically speaking, the less conservative gender.
was. And then there's all these jokes about like genitals and gynecology. I'm like, what? And it's not like any of the funny stuff would land with the kids. It wasn't really that funny for the grown-ups. And
incorrect. The end bit with the seeing the gynecologist was absolutely hilarious. That was a fantastic bit, both thematically and comedically to end on. That's objective. That was very funny. The previous mention to genitalia was mostly just a setup for that part, to be honest.
And they're relentlessly beating you over the head with this like patriarchy discourse.
Literally just a conservative. Whoa, damn, a feminist movie talks about feminism, and when the conflict of the movie is patriarchy being brought to Barbie Land, they keep bringing up this patriarchy discourse.
That, you know, felt like Gamergate all over again or something.
Is Crystal implying that she agrees with the Gamergate people? And she's saying that it was like when all those feminists back in 2014 were nonstop talking about the patriarchy, and in her comparison, she's agreeing with Gamergate? Like, oh man, it was just like 2014 all over again. All these dumb bitches talk about patriarchy. We better fucking sexually harass them and dox them and threaten to kill them. That? Does she even know what the term means?
Thing like that was the level of messaging. It just.
I don't think she knows what it means.
I could totally see that. Yeah, especially for kids. I didn't consider that. That if there are a lot of kids going to this, yeah, I don't think I would.
Yeah, the lady next to me right after it was over, she turned to me and she was like, "That ain't no kids movie."
Yeah, I completely believe. Well, first of all, you're right. It's not. It's rated PG-13. What is so difficult about this? And for two, that didn't happen. It was a black working class mom too. You know, Crystal was sitting there in the seat. And then a mom turned next to her, and she was black, and she was a former Black Panther member, because she had like a badge on her chest, like from her time doing Black Panther shit, you know. And she was like, "Girl, who I consider a sister of mine, by the way, I gotta tell you, that wasn't no kids movie, and also I think Ben Shapiro was right." And then Crystal was like, "Oh, okay, so, you know, oh, and she was Union too, exactly, yeah."
That was yeah. And towards the end of the movie, I mean, people were talking. They were like, there was like a murmur of discontent for probably the last like 20 to 30 minutes.
It's like, this is the level of grift we're on right now, where we just have to make shit up like this. Like, she couldn't just come here and say, "Hey, the movie was really popular, but I have these problems." She has to pretend that, like, this family of this whole theater of former Black Panther Union members were all like, we're all like outraged at the. Dude, come on! It's literally the everyone claps the bit. Yeah, it's like being done unironically. Vosh, I for one smashed my TV when SpongeBob said, "Patrick, your genius is showing," and Patrick proceeded to embarrassingly cover the area where his genitals would be. Had to erase my kids' memories, Men in Black style, for that one. Yeah, I feel like a good metric for whether or not you deserve to exist in society or deserve to be placed in the hole would be to be strapped to a chair and made to watch SpongeBob episodes, and if you ever pearl clutch, you just get launched into it by like a catapult that the couch is loaded into, you know? You can't function in society.
Of the movie did not land.
All right, well, there you go.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed seeing us react to each other's monologues, make sure you subscribe.
I didn't, thank you. All right, spoilers are done. We're free. Man, that was just as bad as the Ben Shapiro bit. You gotta know how scared conservatives are of the Barbie movie for it doing so well. Like, for them to be acting like this. Though I do think it's incredibly funny that Sagar didn't give a shit. So, like, Crystal Ball is doing, like, a contortionist bit, trying to link together every conservative critique she can think of. And Sagar's like, "Yeah, I saw it with the girls, had a great time, loved Ken, great abs, thought it was pretty funny, was pretty hammered. Yeah, would watch again. Yeah, I'd watch it again." It's... I guess so, Tempest. Oh, guys, just so you know, the Barbie movie has already made significantly more money than the Lego movie. Just so you understand, like, how well this movie is doing. They've already outpaced it quite a bit. The Lego movie, which of course has gone through it went through an entire showing, you know, made 468 million at the box office and was considered a big success. And the Barbie movie, which has only been out for a week, and therefore is nowhere near done making money, has made in excess of 500 million. I don't think we have an exact up to date amount. The last update that I see is from 516.9 million, but I don't think that counts the last day. I think that's a bit delayed. So it's already made more than the Lego movie. Anyway, my conclusion from all of this is go watch Barbie, you know? Unironically, I'm going to do the conservative bit. Wait, Vosh, 700 million 2 hours ago? No way. 700? That can't be real. There's no way. Holy shit. No, okay, it's projected to go by 700 million by Sunday. It might hit 1 billion, guys. It might hit 1 billion. God damn. I don't think anyone expected that. Maybe some people. Certainly not me. If it hits 1 billion, what would that make it in the rankings? If it just barely manages to hit 1 billion, that would make it the 53rd highest grossing movie of all time. And it just needs to make a few million more in order to make it past The Dark Knight and into the top 50. Anyway, I strongly suggest you guys watch the movie. I'm going to do the unironic conservative bit, and I'm going to say that this is the movie they don't want you to see. They are scared of you seeing it. It's not even super radical. It's just like they're terrified of it, okay? Clearly, they're terrified of it. I mean, they are. Look at the way they're acting. They desperately want their audience to not see the movie, which is why in their reviews of the movie, they're telling you how boring and uninteresting and blah, blah, blah it is. They're giving plot summaries and doing everything possible to dissuade people from watching the movie because it's a pretty great movie. And they just don't want people seeing it. Wait, Vosh, what about the strike? Aren't we supposed to not support cinema right now? I just realized. My understanding is that the SAG-AFTRA strikers are comfortable with you seeing movies that are already out. They just don't want you to strike break. Because if movies do really poorly, that has like effects in Hollywood that hurt the striking workers as well. The people who worked in those movies, you know, they don't want like the movies that exist to do poorly because they've already been worked on. They're not calling for boycotts. Is he still chilling over there down by the Emery board? He's sleeping. Wow. Woo, big sneeze. Hey, Vermin, are you watching? Where's his little hut? So he can sleep in it. On the shelf? Oh, yeah. Eepy. Can you watch this superconductor drama? What? Man, I know that it's like a total moonshot, but I really want this to end up being real. That would be so goddamn cool. And also, like, revolutionary if it ended up being real.
Behind it. So recently, you might have heard news about the room temperature superconductor, but you probably haven't heard all the drama behind it. So recently, a team of researchers claimed that they created the first materials that could perfectly conduct electricity at ambient pressure and room temperature. And it's been met by a lot of skepticism from physicists. However, there is one major green flag. There's a lot of infighting and rushing to get credit for the experiment. 2 separate papers have been submitted just hours apart.
Oh, wait. That actually is a huge green flag. Holy shit. The fact that they're actually fighting over credit is an indication that they're not just like faking something for a bit of attention, because they wouldn't want to cheapen like a fake story with competing over it. Oh man, if it ends up being real, that's like, holy shit.
One by a 3-man team, thus qualifying it for a Nobel Prize, and the other paper that was submitted later has 6 authors. The theory is that the papers were not ready for publication, but someone was trying to take all the credit.
But they rushed him out. Yeah, oh wait, that could actually be... Because if they're faking the data, there would be no reason for them to compete over releasing it, unless they both just like had the same idea for faking it, and they wanted to do the same fake? I guess it's possible, but weird.
The backstory here is that Lee and Kim had both been working on this material since 1999 on and off, and though never successful, in 2018 they got another round of funding to try again. But it comes with some strings. A third person named Kwon is added to the mix. So Lee becomes the CEO, Kwon the CTO, and Kim the research director because he's the youngest. It takes them 3 years to figure out the production process. They realize they'll need a Western co-author for the papers, just because of how the industry works, and they bring in Kyung Tak, who is a Korean-American professor at the College of William & Mary. The patent filing takes place in 2023, and Kim starts to get nervous. He's afraid that the work will leak, that someone will steal it. Kyung Tak insists that more work is needed to finish the publication. There's still a lot of work to be done. However, on July 22nd, Kwon decides to publish the paper with only 3 authors, Lee, Kim, and himself. A reminder, a Nobel Prize can only be shared by 3 people. Kyung Tak gets a ping from a Korean contact and he immediately rushes to push out his own paper.
The thing that makes me optimistic here is that the thing that they're studying is really easy to test. Like, if they have superconductors that operate at room temperature and ambient pressure, that's not like something you would double check with like a year of biocultural research or whatever. Like it's not something that you would have to check with like this gigantic follow-up or whatever. You could literally just test it, you know? If you're gonna fake a paper, you'd fake it on something that's hard to double check, like that previous Korean scandal with the cloning, where it was really difficult to double check if he was being real or not. Ooh.
Deliberately leaving Kwon out of the authors list. So this is a pretty good sign in the sense of why would you go through all this trouble if the technology didn't actually work?
How much does this mean for technology? If this ends up being real, it would probably be the biggest physics breakthrough of our lifetimes. It would be maybe larger than that. In terms of its potential effects on human development, it might exceed like everything, including potentially like atomic research. The engineering potential of superconductors that can operate under regular conditions are ridiculous. Yeah, since electricity, it'd be, yeah. Can we solve climate change with these? It would make green energy significantly more viable, cheaper, easier to use. What's the child doing? Vermin. I moved him over to the sleepy boy bed. MRIs would become insanely cheap. That's just the beginning of it. The potential ramifications, I don't get how it would be applied. Okay. When we move electricity around, okay, there are two main things. When we move electricity around through wires, okay, the wires don't conduct electricity perfectly. You know, gold is a great conductor, but it's not a 100% conductor. When electricity, that's just electrons, move through a wire, some of it gets lost as heat. So if you run enough power through a cord, like that's why it can melt the insulation, right? Like that's why cords are rated for only a certain amount of energy, because if you exceed that, it gets really hot. That can damage the wire, can damage the insulation. It's not perfect. A perfectly conductive material would never generate any heat because nothing would be lost as heat. The energy would be kept as electricity. A superconductor traditionally is a material which, when lowered to a certain temperature or kept at a very, very high pressure, perfectly conducts electricity. But the temperature that it has to be kept at is so low that it's not feasible for broad use. The first superconductors had to be cooled with liquid helium, not easy to get. After that, it was liquid nitrogen, much easier to get, but still not easy. You know, you have to keep it like 200 below. It's not feasible for like widespread industrial use. But if something can work in regular temperature, in regular pressure, you would have a zero loss transmission of electricity, which means two major things. One, electricity from any point in the globe could reach any other point in the globe, theoretically, with enough like infrastructural development, with no loss in energy. If you have a gigantic power plant in the middle of the Sahara and you want that energy to fuel the whole world, congratulations. You no longer have wires burning out across the Atlantic. You can get it anywhere, anytime. There's no loss in efficiency. That's a high level after we build a lot of power grid infrastructure kind of deal, but it's not theoretically impossible. And two, and this is the bigger one, batteries. Right now, the way batteries work is they're a combination of metals and chemicals that have a differential in how they keep electrons when subjected to certain conditions. Basically, they're a big electron storage vat, and when you want energy from a battery, you convince the electrons to move from one side of a barrier to another. And if you want to store energy in a battery, you convince them to go that way, you know. That's how batteries work, basically. The problem with batteries is that they catch fire and explode a lot. They're also expensive, they're difficult to make, they're difficult to transport. Batteries are complicated and dangerous because the chemicals that we use to efficiently store electrons are heavy and dangerous. Yeah, they degrade. But think about it. If you had superconductors with lossless electrical transmission, why couldn't a battery just be a gigantic electrical coil that you run power through and then just keep it cycling there forever? When you wanted to, all you'd have to do was reactivate a connector and pull energy from it. But if you wanted to keep energy, you could just keep it in a loop. You would no longer need to build a battery. You could keep the electrons cycling in the entire conductor. It would be unimaginably efficient compared to the batteries that we use today. Can't explode, can't overheat. It would generate a magnetic field that would probably keep your pacemakers from working if you're within a mile of them. But you know, we'll build them in a safe place. Okay. The reason this is so important is because it means that for power plants that don't reliably generate electricity, like solar or electric. The big problem that we have is when you guys use electricity, the electricity that's allowing me to right now stream to you guys just got made at the power plant. It doesn't get held. Power plants generate a certain amount of electricity per nanosecond. They generate it constantly. It goes into the grid and it gets pulled out by everything connected to it as needed. This was made by, well, I'm in Washington, so probably by the turn of a hydroelectric plant somewhere north of me. But this energy that I'm using right now was made now. The water that pushed that turbine, that's now. And the problem with stuff like solar and wind is that it doesn't generate electricity consistently. It's not always windy. It's not always sunny. Sometimes it's nighttime. It's been known to happen. And what you'd need to do for people using energy during the night, if you rely entirely on solar, is have batteries capable of holding all of the excess energy so that when there's no extra energy being generated, they pull from the battery. Do you know how large and expensive batteries would have to be to supplant the generative power of solar plants during the nighttime if we relied entirely on them? The batteries would block out the sun. They would be giant bombs. I hope you don't smoke near them. the batteries necessary to supplement power during the nighttime would be inconceivably large and expensive and difficult to maintain and dangerous. But if we had superconductors that we could run the electricity through on a loop without having to worry about using batteries, congratulations, we've done it, we fixed it. It's a perfect lossless battery that's relatively easy to build, transport, and maintain. It doesn't lose effectiveness over time the way regular batteries do. It could generate energy during the day, hold it in a very powerful battery, and redistribute it to the power grid during the nighttime. That loop idea won't work. I am simplifying when I say run it on a loop. I saw scientists talking about it. I am really, really, really simplifying on a loop. It's not literally like it runs in a circle. It's more complicated than that, more complicated than I understand, but significantly better than batteries. Yeah, it runs on 2 loops, okay? Yeah, that's my understanding of the issue. Again, it might not work, but if this ends up being real, it could potentially fix a lot of problems. It would mean an easy solution to our energy crisis, and thereby an easier solution to our climate crisis. Because the biggest weakness of renewable energy is, of course, the fact that it doesn't generate reliably. Want to make computers faster too? You could also use these to operate quantum computers, but that's a more theoretical thing, and quantum computers are magic anyway. I don't get it. Will it make electric cars safer? No, I don't think you could run those loops in a car. I don't think you could make them that small or portable, because if you did, you'd be running a magnetic field like because the battery would be running a magnetic field because you're running electricity through a I'm not sure. My understanding is that I don't think you could, but I could be wrong. I'm not a physicist. Trains? Maybe trains. Maglev trains would be easy. Supercapacitors are already an idea for cars that would 100% work. So what we're basically talking about is like a high-efficiency supercapacitor, correct? For running the what I've been referring to as running the loop. We're talking about a super capacitor. A super mega ultra capacitor, basically. I know you like the wiki. Technological applications of superconductivity. The production of sensitive magnetometers based on squids? Sure. Fast digital circuits, superconducting electromagnets for maglev trains, MRIs, nuclear magnetic resonance machines, magnetic confinement fusion reactors. Hey, there's our fusion boys in chat. And the beam steering and focusing magnets used in particle accelerators. Oh, particle accelerators. I didn't even think of that. Imagine how much easier running that would be if you had just like infinite superconductors. Low loss power cables. Yeah, that's the fusion gang shit. Wait, in the vacuum of space, would you need cooling for superconductors? No, because they don't heat. Because they're perfect conductors, so none of the energy that runs through them heats the surrounding material. You could, theoretically, a superconductor could be running enough power to run a country, and you could place your hand on it with like no insulation, basically. Or with like very minor insulation. That theoretically, like enough power to the power of the sun could be running through a conduit the diameter of like a river, and you could place your hand on it covered by like a micrometer of rubber, and you would be fine. You wouldn't want to touch it directly though. It's still a current. That's the theory. Railgun and coilgun magnets. Hell yeah, brother. First application of our ambient temperature, ambient pressure superconductors, okay? We're going to fire bullets of tungsten directly through the planet's core in order to antagonize the Chinese. Notice how it doesn't mention power storage? But I read about that. Hold on. Nah, I read about that. It's out there. The truth is out there. Don't listen to the haters. It's somewhere here in like fancy pants techno jargon that I don't understand. Thank you, Space Duck. Superconducting magnetic energy storage. Hell yeah. Store energy in the magnetic field created by the flow of a direct current in a superconducting coil, which has been cryogenically cooled to a temperature below its superconducting critical temperature. Ideally, we could skip this last part. Due to the energy requirements of refrigeration and the high cost of superconducting wire, SMES is currently used for short-duration energy storage. See, but that's what it would fix. You would no longer need refrigeration, and the superconducting material is supposed to be really conventional. So, with both of these problems fixed, it would it should be a very efficient. See, advantages over other energy storage methods. The time delay during charge and discharge is quite short. Oh yeah, there would be no delay in charging these batteries. If you put power into them, the power goes into them. There's no like charge time. It'd be the equivalent of plugging your phone in at 0% and it just being 100% because there's enough power in the grid. You're not running it through a battery chemical process. You're just putting the energy into the box of energy. Because for a battery, there's a chemical process that moves the electrons. But in this case, you're just putting the energy in. Power is available almost instantaneously. Very high power output can be provided for a brief period of time. Other energy storage methods, such as pumped hydro or compressed air, have a time delay. Thus, if demand is immediate, SMES is an option. Another advantage is that the loss of power is less than other storage methods because electrical currents encounter almost no resistance. Additionally, oh, this is another big thing. The main parts in an SMES are motionless, which results in high reliability. No chemical components and no moving parts means that this shit will outlast humanity. I'm exaggerating when I say that, but the lack of moving parts and you know chemical reactions means a much higher degree of reliability. I can only assume so, yes, Soth. How would it be motionless? Because it's a superconductor is literally just a magnet, basically. Fancy. I mean, basically, right? That's a superconductor is basically just a super magnet. I mean, it's a fancy pants magnet. No, it's a diamagnet. I don't know what that is. It's a fancy magnet and it makes stuff float. Okay, we're not even talking about the floating part. Okay. Hold on. Superconductor. I still don't know if this is real, but the fact that it might be real means that it is worth caring about. Here.
While I was doing this,
Hi, Nile Red.
I realized
This is a superconductor right down here. He made this disc himself and is cooling it right now with liquid nitrogen. This is a magnet covered in ferrofluid, which is magnetic fluid, iron particles on top of it, and it's literally just a disc. You're looking at a superconductor right here. Well, once it's cooled appropriately, it's a superconductor. There's the liquid nitrogen.
when it seemed cold enough, I then got my magnet, and I was honestly really nervous that it was just going to fall and hit the YBCO. Also,
That's the type of material that superconductors are typically made of now.
this didn't work, then I'd have literally no idea what went wrong or how to fix it. Thankfully, though, it did end up working, and I honestly can't say how relieved I was to see this. Like I just said, if it didn't work, I'd have no idea what to do next, but I guess it really was just the oxygenation. I then tested each one to make sure that they were all good, and I also tried out the big one. One thing that I noticed, though, was that none of them floated the magnet, as high as that first successful run. Also, the big one seemed to actually be weaker. To me, this meant that even though it was working now...
See, you'll notice that it basically holds the position here, and then it just rotates around. The reason for that is because superconductors have a very specific and very powerful kind of magnetic field relative to their size, that basically, because these are symmetrical along an axis, they're disks, once they're held in place, and because the orientation of this magnet goes this way and this way, like in this direction, they can rotate along that axis while holding their exact place. It's basically magic. It's a whole thing. It's magic. It's magic. Nobody knows how magnets work. Nobody knows. Nobody understands. Fed the Poopy. Thanks for the name. You know, you never know what exactly is going to work out, but I like to pay attention to stuff like this because I always have been pretty optimistic about humanity's ability to make cool shit. Think of the COVID vaccine, right? So much stuff is happening so quickly. There are a lot of problems, but a lot of them are social problems, you know, but there's a lot of cool stuff happening in the tech world. CRISPR gene modification, there are potential, you know, negative ramifications for that tech, but it's interesting. What about the vaccines? mRNA vaccine tech allowed them to get one out in just less than a year. That's incredible. And now this? There's stuff worth paying attention to, I think. Yeah, I'm not a physicist, Aloisi. How likely is it this tech would be gatekept from the working class? That's not really how tech works, right? Technology is put to use where it is useful. In this case, the technological applications of these superconductors would potentially be so beneficial that they would be used in widespread infrastructural projects, which means that they would be primarily to the benefit of the working class. But it's not like a gatekeeping thing, like, well, you're not allowed to. As I understand it, the fabrication process for these superconductors is supposed to be pretty conventional, too. Well, that'd be fun, Julia. Ah, yes, and the cotton gin helped the slaves do less work. Do you think we're being a little bit reductive here, perhaps? Come on. A big technological breakthrough that could potentially revolutionize almost every element of electricity generation and storage. And it's like, well, you know, like insulin gets invented. Well, did the cotton gin help the slave work? Like, come on, it's not that simple. First of all, we're not slaves. So that's an important first thing to keep in mind. Second of all, we're not talking about like a workload being reduced. We're talking about like widespread applications of this technology. If it ends up being real, which again, we'll know in a couple weeks. No, Mansi, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it would work for cars. I think the batteries would need to be like huge, but efficient. You're wrong about SMESs. The storage density is terrible, like 50 times worse than lithium. You simply wouldn't have enough materials to do it. Is that true? 50 times? I'll look into it. Though depending on the materials, even if it was 50 times less efficient, like space-wise, it could still end up being viable. The SNES, yes. That's also an option, Posadas John. Could this make electric planes a possibility? They're already a thing, but no. If the storage system for the energy involves generating a magnetic field, then no. They couldn't have that in a plane, right? That would fuck with the equipment on the plane. One of the papers leaked and apparently it's not good. Yeah, well, the papers are being rushed out, but the fact that they're being rushed out might be a positive because people don't usually rush out a quick, like, attention bait headline that is going to get disproven in a week, right? They would want to make a good case for it, but they might try to be rushed out to compete over a Nobel Prize. I don't know. We'll see. What are these links? AI does not exist, but it'll ruin everything anyway, thank you. Trans men entering Miss Italy in protest demand apology amid continuous transphobia across country. Makes sense. There is indeed transphobia. Heat from extinct volcano could be piped into Dutch homes. This is probably the best kind of renewable energy. The problem is it's just difficult to get. Hell yeah, absolutely. Use that lava or whatever. All electricity generation ultimately comes down to making steam push a turbine around, so I covered it last stream, Mr. Hija. A lava pipe for every house in America. I want to make my my toast off of some lava. You know? Just pipe a little like droplet of it onto a steel pan that can hold my toast over with some tongs. Have I seen the video of it yet? Is this meant to be the video of the superconductor? It was released 1 day ago, and this looks like Korean? That's not Korean, it's Chinese? Well, it's not like I can tell the difference. Oh, yeah, ask your average Korean if they can tell the difference between a Midwest accent and, like, a Chicago accent, okay? Shut the fuck up. Korean is circles? I don't care.
的环境下达成的。当然，它有一部分是垂下去的，这个应该是因为合成过程中产生的杂质不均匀导致的，这需要未来制成的改良。但
So this is meant to be it? That's an older video. It was released a day ago. Not floating? No, it's demonstrating weak superconductive properties right here. By holding it like that. But maybe it's not. I don't know. It could be. That's a diamagnet, not a superconductor. Diamagnet. Okay, I see that stuff can float if you're using a diamagnet. What's the difference? Or how could you tell the difference between one or the other? Superconductors are just very good diamagnets. So you're suggesting they might just have a diamagnet and not a superconductor, which we normally see as a diamagnet because it's a good diamagnet. Right? That's right? Okay. Well, I mean, it's a diamagnet, at least, right? It's clearly at room temperature and ambient pressure. The fact that it's holding it at an angle, though, is interesting to me. It's obviously not a perfect superconductor, like the materials used to make it aren't perfect, but it's being held at an angle. See? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, the magnet's not uniform either. That's true. Yeah, the heavier side is falling. Fuck, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. I guess we'll have to find out. That was definitely superconducting, assuming the video is real. I don't know. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a physicist. Just keep in mind that it's a small team that hasn't been working with a ton of money. Oh, man, if it could end up being real, though. Holy shit. Oh, my God, it would be so big. Diamagnets do not behave like that? Do they not? Is this bigger or smaller than nuclear fusion? I don't know. They're both huge. KN92 said with a superconductor you could move the floating magnet without it falling off. They act as if they generate a linear magnetic field. So do you think this might be an indication of the imperfections in the material? Because it's floating at an angle, but it's also not a perfect magnet here. Why wouldn't they have a perfect magnet? Like, the material they're working with here should be in the creation of the superconductor. Why wouldn't they just have a regular magnet they could toss on there? Why would they be using one they made in the lab? Maybe to show off the tech? Yeah, but, like, the thing they're supposed to be showing off is the superconductor, not the magnet they're putting on top of it. So why not use a perfect magnet so that way the only thing that's affecting the outcome would be the superconductor? I think the big thing might be the magnet, and the small, scrungly rock might be the superconductor. The thing on top is the superconductor? Oh, I hadn't considered that, because I usually see it on the bottom. Well, that would explain why it looks irregular and the thing on the bottom looks regular. But if that's the case, I don't even know how a superconductor is supposed to behave when on top of a magnet. I've only seen the opposite. I see magnets on superconductors, not the other way around. Huh. It should act the same? Yeah, but in terms of, like, how it balances. Hey, Vosh, I'm a physicist. It's okay that it's at an angle. It takes a strong magnetic field to hold an asymmetry. Right, because if they were both just regular magnets, it wouldn't be able to hold at an angle like this, right? Instead, the thing on top would either fall flat or flip onto its side and hold there. Even though the thing on top is irregular, if it was a regular magnet, it wouldn't behave like that even with the asymmetrical distribution of weight. It would flip to one side or the other. So this has to be at least the diamagnet or whatever somebody said. But the fact that it's being held at an angle rather than being held flat, somebody said that indicates superconductor behavior because the magnetic field that it's holding is stable enough to maintain it at an angle. Right? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know why I'm even doing this. It's not like I know anything. Huh. If it was a diamagnet, it would be tuned to cancel the weight, but not much more, which is pretty tough. That does sound tough. In the LK99 superconductor levitation video, it is clear the thin end is capable of levitation while the bulky end cannot. This prevents us from seeing... This is 7 likes, so take it with a grain of salt. From seeing if the effect is of pinning or diamagnetism. Can't the authors simply take a hammer or chisel and carve out the smaller thin end to see if the now fully capable of levitating on its own chipped piece is pinned? I could see reasons why they might not want to do that, depending on the production process. This might not be the most physically sturdy little nugget. I don't know. Okay, good. He's still sleeping back there. All right, sorry, that's enough. I do find this intensely interesting. And again, you know, if it works out, it could be a really big deal. We need, well, there's your problem. I think it's a bit out of their range of specialty. If this works, can I fuck robots now? As long as you don't have any magnetic piercings in your dong, yes. Okay. Before we got to the Trump indictment, there was one other video that I wanted to see, and it's totally impromptu because I saw this from City Beautiful right before I started streaming, and I just wanted to experience it with you guys. Why is Beverly Hills so rich and famous? Well, I have some ideas.
Beverly Hills.
Woo! That's the song. Get it?
Its name and zip code, 90210, are synonymous with wealth and status, a place for the rich and famous. The houses of Beverly Hills are something else. A third of the top 15 largest homes in the LA area are within this city. Many of
Which of these houses mine? All of them. All the houses that you see are mine. People can own multiple houses. It's 2023.
which are also some of the largest homes in the entire US. Some of these mansions are almost 50,000 square feet in size. Most people's understanding of Beverly Hills comes through the filter of pop culture, and the stereotype that everyone who lives there is a rich movie star. But how much of that is actually true? I mean, yes, this is Rodeo Drive, famous for its luxury boutiques, but this is also Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. This street would fit in just about any upper middle class neighborhood in Southern California.
The point is, Beverly Hills is more complicated than you probably thought, and planning for a city full of gated homes is also complicated. Let's take a tour of Beverly Hills after the bike bell. Before we answer any of those
How much are those houses? Basically, the small houses in Beverly Hills are like 2 to 3 million.
questions, let's lay down some facts and history about Beverly Hills, as it's a place most of us know only through pop culture.
But it is a real place, an incorporated city located here, bordered to the north by the Santa Monica Mountains.
Okay, this is our like little geographic study. Okay, okay. Do you see this road right here? It's this diagonal road that goes from bottom left to top right that cuts through this portion of Beverly Hills. Do you see this? Do you see what I'm describing right now? Everything north of that road is where all the disgustingly rich people live, and everything south of that road is either rich people, not disgustingly rich, but rich people, or like middle class people. That's like the divide. That one road right there, Santa Monica Boulevard, that's the divide.
And completely surrounded by the city of Los Angeles. For being such a well-known city, it only has a population of around 32,000, but the residents that it does have are incredibly well-connected and influential. It's also not the only wealthy enclave in the area.
Many famous YouTubers from this place. Where were you? I was on the south side of the line. All right, I was in the hood. I was in the Beverly Hood, okay? With my brothers, like Will Smith over here.
Bel Air, Holmby Hills, and plenty of other attractive neighborhoods are all close by.
So how then did Beverly Hills get so famous and wealthy? It's all in the history.
The first European settlers here were the Spanish, who set up an agricultural community here in the 1830s. El Rodeo de las Aguas, as it was known, focused on livestock agriculture, and lima bean farms were planted starting in the 1880s.
Lima bean farms.
But this agricultural lifestyle quickly changed in the 1900s when real estate developers set their eyes on ranch land and purchased farms with the hopes of finding oil. When this proved unsuccessful, the Rodeo Land and Water Company purchased the property and planned for a new community.
There are actually oil wells all over Los Angeles still. Some of them even still run, and they built these big, like, ornate towers to cover up the oil pumps because they're pretty unattractive. Beverly Hills High School had one before they tore it down. They, the like graduating class a couple years before mine covered it all up in this big like painted mural of flowers that I always thought looked quite nice. It overlooked the field, well, the fields, baseball and football. But then they tore it down. That was the old one. Then they redid it in teal. I thought this was the one I saw most of the time. I thought that looked nice. Then they took it down. They take down the whole thing or just the facade? Oh, yeah, they plugged the pump. Yep, got rid of it. Ah, well.
The subdivision became an incorporated city in
We can admit this is dystopian as fuck, though, right? I don't necessarily think so. A lot of those oil pumps are pretty old. Sometimes it was just like a way of like beautifying the area.
1914. As was common practice in the US at the time, the developers used restrictive covenants that excluded people of color and Jewish people. Now, because this
As the people who excluded Jewish people from Beverly Hills rolling in their graves, the demographic makeup of the neighborhood today.
Practice was so widespread, this isn't the only reason why Beverly Hills is known for being so wealthy and white. Last year, I did a video on Compton, another Southern California city that had racial
Another white
covenants
wealthy
and
neighborhood.
eventually became synonymous with being a community of black residents. There are a couple things that might have tipped the scales for Beverly Hills in the other direction. First, the literal hills that provided great views of the surrounding area and the Pacific Ocean. It was desirable real estate.
That's only north of the road. All this crap, all this hill crap, that's all north of Santa Monica Boulevard. Everything south of it is flatland.
This attracted early stars of nearby Hollywood. The construction of a mansion for Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford, popular actors and producers in the film industry, gave Beverly Hills some cachet. More celebrities and movie stars began building mansions here, and the rest is history. Beverly Hills' image as a place for the wealthy and famous continued to attract the, well, wealthy and famous. But in the 1920s, the city saw its first major challenge. With so many actors and celebrities moving from around the country to Beverly Hills, the city's water supply began to dry up.
Oh no.
Those lawns don't water themselves.
And thankfully, it's a problem they solved, and it is no longer a problem today, smiley face.
The proposed remedy for the situation was for the city of Los Angeles to annex Beverly Hills. LA had been draining the Owens Valley of its water for years by this point, securing the water it needed to grow into a global metropolis. Another subdivision wouldn't make a dent in the city's overall water demand. But this proposal was not what Beverly Hills residents had in mind for the future of their city. They believed themselves to have a separate identity from the rest of LA, and they wanted to stay intact. Celebrity intervention into local politics proved wildly successful for their case. Huge actors at the time, as well as the Beverly Hills Utility Commission, publicly opposed the annexation and managed to squash the proposal in a special election. 30 years later, Beverly Hills actually grew by annexing an incredibly wealthy subdivision next door, Troutdale Estates. Celebrities like Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and many more have called Troutdale Estates their home since its development and annexation. While I mentioned before that the racial covenants in Beverly Hills wasn't enough to guarantee that it would be a whites-only community, it did do the trick pretty well. Starting in the 1940s and 1950s, black celebrities who couldn't buy in Beverly Hills moved to View Park, which became known as the Black Beverly Hills.
I've been there. My dad did independent work for VFX stuff for some of the people in View Park, so I'd go over sometimes, and it was pretty cool. I mean, they're still wealthy, even if they're not white, so, you know, it's not actually that cool, but it's pretty cool.
Today, View Park is the largest, wealthiest, and most architecturally distinct black neighborhood in the entire United States, though still not as wealthy as the original Beverly Hills. There has been a non-white group that has managed to settle in Beverly Hills, and today makes up about 25% of the population.
Oh, yeah.
They are immigrants from Iran,
Yep.
particularly the Persian Jews. Beverly Hills even had an Iranian-American mayor. This influx of immigrants hasn't been without conflict, but it's a very Beverly Hills kind of conflict. Longtime locals dislike...
Okay. So all these, like, the Iranian Jews who were wealthy enough to flee Iran after the revolution, the Shah was overthrown, the Ayatollah was put forward, they were like, okay, we are now in... Okay, I swear to God, there were more fucking... I grew up with more Persian Jews than fucking fellow white, like, European people. So I want to do their voice so badly, but I can't. Like, they came over here, and they were like, okay, we are now going to build our glorious Persian palaces. Behold. And they built these fucking ugly-ass, goddamn, pillar houses on regular plots of land. Oh my fucking God. Look at this. That's why they call themselves Persian, by the way, because they're trying to reclaim an Iranian identity outside of, like, Iran itself. I've seen this house like a trillion times at this point. You've seen this house a trillion times. It was on my walk to school. I saw this house a trillion times. Beverly Hills is pretty small, you know. I know what the houses in it look like.
Like the architecture of the homes the Persian community has built there. They're referred to as Persian palaces. Typically, a Persian family will buy a normal-sized home,
I know this
tear
house.
it down, and build a new house that maximizes interior space. This results in a home some feel is out of scale with the rest of the neighborhood. This architectural style usually consists of large columns, double-high entry spaces, and a general quasi-classical vibe.
The main clash is that most of the houses in Los Angeles are done in that, like, Spanish, you know, Adobe, like, mission kind of style. You know what I mean? With like those curved reddish brick tiles on the roof and like the mesa aesthetic, yeah, that kind of thing. So then these houses clashed severely with the aesthetic of the neighborhood. I mostly don't like them because they're tacky, but I also don't like the Spanish style houses, so whatever.
Some call them gaudy, but they have become a part of the landscape of Beverly Hills.
So the city of Beverly Hills does have some diversity, and that diversity extends to income. Sort of. The whole city isn't incredibly wealthy.
There's a dividing line between the north and south parts of the
He knows. He knows.
city, where the richest residents live north of Santa Monica Boulevard and the less rich live to the south. A quick look on Zillow shows that you can buy a house for only $2 or $3 million south of Santa Monica Boulevard.
That's the number I said too. Oh my God. Still repping my neighborhood.
while houses to the north are almost all 8 figures. This divide means that Beverly Hills actually holds the record for the highest income inequality of all cities in California. The top 20% of households account for 62.5% of the total income of the city, with an average yearly salary of $661,000.
Cool.
The bottom 20% only makes up 1.6 of the total earnings and makes an average of $14,500 yearly. Those with lower incomes can't always afford to shop at the generally fancier grocery stores in the city and often need to go elsewhere for everyday items like groceries. So in Beverly Hills, the middle-class residents would be considered very high-income residents anywhere else. When you have a population like this that's so wealthy and influential, what can a city like Beverly Hills do that other cities can't? Well, they can be sure to avoid getting...
This Wilshire Boulevard, I don't even know what the fuck this is. Restaurants? I don't know. I walk by it a million times. I don't care. But, like, it always looked really weird to me because if you can look right here, the bottom floor of this building looks really nice with this, like, ornate mason work right here. And then on top of it, they just were like, okay, we're just going to, like, slap some bricks and stucco in, like, a rough rectangle and, like, we're good to go. We're going to have an ugly, like, front of the facade fire escape on top of this, like, Parisian, elegant... Like, it's very, very weird. I don't know why they did that. The city was expanding, I assume. I don't know.
Getting cut into by LA's massive highway network. Let's look at the map. While the rest of Los
Tell me
Angeles
about
is
the
full of elevated
405.
concrete monoliths of highways, Beverly Hills only has California State Route 2 running through it, and it runs at grade as Santa Monica Boulevard. Originally, a Beverly Hills freeway was planned to connect the 101 and 405 freeways, and that would have run...
That's Town Hall right there. Town Hall, which is right next to Rodeo Drive. I've always thought that the cap at the top of Town Hall, which you can't see that well here, is really pretty. It almost looks like a mosque to me. I know there are other things that look like this, but it just reminds me of some of those, like, really nice-looking, like, Turkish mosques or whatever, with all the fancy tile work and mosaic work and stuff. It's all over the building, too. The whole building has this really interesting, like, extremely... I don't know. I don't know enough about architecture to really, like, get a point to it. There's, like, a specific vibe. Yeah, this is the square at the back that's used sometimes for events. See, it has, like... You can see what I'm talking about, right? Like, it's clearly distinct. It's also connected, yeah, Byzantine vibe. It's connected to the library, the police department, the fire department, because Beverly Hills is pretty small, so, you know, they're all centralized in a big building. They also used to have these big cubes that were just kind of rooted in the ground in the back. I don't know if they exist anymore or if I hallucinated them, but I swear I remember a good portion of my childhood, you could go into the back of the town hall, right, like to the, like, further back from where the camera's in this photo, like, further back there. And there's, and there were cubes, just big stone cubes, like 6 to 10 feet across, that were just embedded into the dirt that you could sit on. But I can't find any... Like in Minecraft? Yes! Like in Minecraft. I just don't see Google giving me what I need, though. Oh, sorry. Beverly Hills stone cubes. Library? No. Town hall? Ah. Well, into the memory hole they go, I guess. Look up the Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba. It's a direct inspiration. Is it? Ah, yeah, I can see it. Though this is quite a bit more majestic. Okay, let's move on.
Run underground in West Hollywood and Beverly Hills, but the wealthy residents of Beverly Hills had enough political power to stop even an underground highway through their city. There are no future plans to build this highway either. Water was a big...
Oh, yeah, there's There was an effort to build an underground subway that would connect vital parts of the city, but it would run through Beverly Hills. And Beverly Hills hates the idea of poor people being able to travel underneath the city so much they've been blocking it for years, up to and including like proposing a path that would run directly under Beverly Hills High School so they could use the children as an excuse. Like, here's a path under the high school. Whoa, you can't do that under the high school. There are children there. Like that.
Big issue for Beverly Hills in the 1920s, and it's still a big issue in the 2020s. How does a city with 2,481 swimming pools conserve water in a state that is seemingly either always in a drought or about to be in one? Particularly since the 2012 to 2016 drought in California, counties and cities have been given strict water consumption targets they must meet or face the risk of fines from the state. In general, most of the state has dramatically lowered their per capita water use by installing more.
The fact that it's still legal to have grass lawns in California, in SoCal, is insane to me. If you have a grass lawn and you go outside with if you have a sprinkler system, like drones should just deploy from the local police department to firebomb your house. The fact that it's legal is insane, but they won't change it because having clean grass lawns is just a part of being a wealthy American.
More efficient water fixtures, planting native lawns, and being more thoughtful about water use generally. But of course, not all communities want to follow these water cuts. In 2015, it was found that the residents of Beverly Hills and other wealthy areas of LA tended to have larger houses with highly landscaped lawns and pools.
Really?
And were using 151 to 281 gallons of water per person per day, while the state average was only 72.6 gallons per person per day. While many communities in the state had reduced their water use by 10%, Beverly Hills residents used so much that they were told to cut their water consumption by 35%. A year later, in 2016, when the state checked back in, residents had not met any of their goals for water consumption decreases, and it took heavy fines from the State Water Resources Control Board to rein in many properties' water use. Now, it's probably not surprising that some of the world's wealthiest, most influential people will be willing to flaunt water restrictions. I get the sense that for many residents of Beverly Hills, they consider their gated home to be their own private castle.
Yep.
They feel free to do whatever they want within their walls.
Literally, dude, literally, look at what my fucking camera's blocking. Look at that. They're fortresses. Driving around the hills part of Beverly Hills is like you feel like an enemy commander sizing up the fucking fortifications you're going to be dying in front of the next day. They're all gated. They're not gated, they're walled. Those sidewalks suck ass. How do you get around? Nobody walks in this part of Beverly Hills. Literally nobody. Everybody drives.
Walls. This is also what makes Beverly Hills different than most communities. So many gates and walls. This is a city where residents are extremely concerned about privacy, and it makes sense that the gates would be necessary. But when you drive around, it feels very uninviting. Almost all road space is catered towards private vehicles exclusively, and a lot of areas have no space for pedestrians to walk at all. Extra tall hedges protect outsiders from spying on individual properties, and gated houses in their communities are the norm. Individual properties are, for all intents and purposes, their own little islands. This focus on their own personal castles has unsurprisingly made many Beverly Hills residents opposed to affordable housing within the city's boundaries. The state of California requires all cities to plan for an allotted amount of new affordable housing. Beverly Hills has not done its fair share. The state of California rejected Beverly Hills' housing plan, and the city is being sued by the nonprofit Californians for Home Ownership. Both the state and the lawsuit point to the city's assumption that many properties that are currently health clinics, religious community centers, and theaters could be completely redeveloped to become apartment buildings. That's just not going to happen. It's not hard to believe that Beverly Hills is a difficult place to build housing. Essentially, all of its land is already developed, and land that isn't dedicated to buildings is dedicated to expensive lawns. The people who own these houses are unlikely to build ADUs or demolish their house and replace it with apartments.
Do these people vote Republican or Democrat? Republican. Beverly Hills was one of the few districts of Los Angeles that voted Republican on average.
And the city doesn't seem to want to do much to change that. The city even managed to decrease its population count by several thousand people in recent years. So no surprise, Beverly Hills is an exclusive enclave. And when you have an exclusive enclave...
Look, you can literally see the Santa Monica divide. Look at that. Remember what I said about all the big expensive houses being north of it? That's Santa Monica, and the green, the lawns, are to the left, north. See? Look at how everything on the right side looks like standard, like, urban sprawl. And on the left, you see curvier hills, larger plots, and much, much more lawn. That's how significant the divide is. I could probably even... Yep, there's Town Hall, right there. Town Hall is right here. And I remember when growing up, You know, you walk by Town Hall on the way to the high school, which is right here at the bottom. That's the high school. When getting over there, nobody walks to the other side of Santa Monica. The only reason you would ever walk to the other side of Santa Monica is because sometimes they have an art fair there, like twice a year, and the big Welcome to Beverly Hills sign is right here at this intersection. So that's the one you've seen online. But nobody crosses this line to walk because this is all like blight. This is all like there's nothing, there is no commercial district, there's nothing to stop at, there's nothing to buy or see. It's just gigantic palaces carved into the winding, overly wide roads. What's the big green part on the bottom left? That is a golf course. Self-Hero Cumsock. Excellent question. At least I remember that is. Let me write my orientation so I'm looking at North Top. That's Beverly Hills High School. 2 roads over, you go right there. Yeah, that's the golf. Yeah, that's the golf course. Yeah, that's the golf course, and that's Wilshire Boulevard right there that cuts through it. And then you go down this way, and my mom used to work in one of these buildings, and my brother used to work at one of those hotels as the chef. If you go down further that way, and then and further that way by a little more, it's just barely cut off by the camera edge here, but you would find UCLA and the UCLA Village. Yes.
If you have residents who feel comfortable flaunting water restrictions.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
barring-
There we go. There we go. That's it. That's the UCLA Village right here. This big blob of white right down here. And then right a little bit past it, see this gray line that's right underneath chat? That is the 405. And this right here, this chunk of the 405 is what is the part of the 405 that was on fire when I drove through it that one time, because the California wildfires had gone all the way down to this side of the road and it had jumped due to heavy winds to the other side. So we drove through like a big like arch of fire when we went through it that one time. And then a little further up, you have the Getty Center, which is beautiful, by the way. Yeah.
New affordable housing. The world beyond the walls of your house just doesn't matter as much as what's inside. And the residents of Beverly Hills have another invisible wall, their city limits. While places like Bel
Oh, also, if you want really good shaved ice, okay, you want to cross the 405 under, and you want to go to Sawtell on like Olympic. So it's like right down here near where the time code is. And there's really good like fucking shaved ice and sushi down there. Hell yeah.
The world beyond the walls of your house just doesn't matter as much as what's inside. And the residents of Beverly Hills have another invisible wall, their city limits. While places like Bel Air have to abide by the laws of the city of Los Angeles, Beverly Hills can draft laws that cater exclusively to its own interests. Beverly Hills is an island full of little house-sized islands. So I'm obviously back from Beverly Hills and back in the studio, and after some time reflecting on my experience in Beverly Hills, I have some thoughts as someone who visited only briefly and is definitely just an outsider. I found downtown Beverly Hills to be surprisingly dense and bustling.
Downtown Beverly Hills means Rodeo Drive. This is shaved ice. It's really good. It's basically just like a snow cone, but a little bit more elaborate. It tastes better. It's a little bit fancier. It's like a nicer snow cone, basically.
But it was a place absolutely choked with cars. It also seemed like a place people wanted to be seen with their fancy cars.
Also, guys, do not ever shop in Rodeo Drive unless you're actually rich, okay? Your experience in Rodeo Drive will otherwise be summed up as seeing something cute through the window, going in, seeing a 4-digit price tag, and then bulking and leaving. Actually, 4-digit might be generous. A couple of these places, you can easily find 5-digit dresses and suits.
But it'd be so much better if a place like Rodeo Drive was completely car-free. This little section of downtown was car-free, and it was totally the best part. I'm not gonna lie and say that.
Yeah, this is the walk.
This little.
This is the walk right here. They set up a Christmas tree here every Christmas. We would used to take our family photo right there.
Little section of downtown was car-free, and it was totally the best part. I'm not gonna lie and say that it wouldn't be cool to live in some of the houses I saw, but the lack of consistent sidewalks and bike lanes was definitely a weakness for me.
Bike lanes in Beverly Hills? What do you mean? The bike lanes are incredibly consistent in Beverly Hills. There are zero. You'll not find such consistency anywhere else. There are none.
Again, it felt like a place where cars are status symbols. There isn't much demand for alternative modes, And that's just not my jam. Even though Beverly Hills might not be for me, maybe it's for you.
No, it wasn't. I'm happy I'm in Seattle now. Thank you. Hey guys, thanks for donating, watching, subscribing, watching ads. You allow me to live in Seattle and not in Beverly Hills, where I would otherwise live. Thank you.
And there's definitely a special allure to Beverly Hills that I do understand. Now, you obviously have to be pretty wealthy to move to Beverly Hills, and one of the best ways to jump social
Is it very alienating, Beverly Hills? Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, there's not really... Okay, I know this is the case all over America, but there's not, like, any place to meet people that isn't an obscenely expensive shopping mall, is the main thing. I know it's like that in lots of America, but in Beverly Hills, there's this very unique mix of all the money in the world and no taste. Like, in most of America, I feel like the lack of public social spaces is a product of money being hollowed out from the public forum. But in this case, it's not true. There's an enormous amount of money in Beverly Hills. It's evident everywhere. Every street, road, the maintenance of the roads, how things are kept smooth and clean. There's a huge amount of money there, and all of it is spent on the opposite of the good things. It's spent on the worst possible things. Horrible taste, no culture. It's a dead city with an incredible wealth. It's a tomb made of gold. It's insane. I would rather live in an area where there was nothing to do because there was no money with which to do it than an area where you would go outside and watch people flaunt their money being spent on the wrong things. Not to say there weren't benefits to growing up in Beverly Hills. Incredibly safe neighborhood, good schooling, you know, lots of good stuff like that. But in terms of the culture of the area, in terms of, like, being able to go outside and feel like a human connected to other humans, in that respect, I would say that Beverly Hills is inferior to probably where you guys grew up. Though I'm very glad that I grew up there just for the opportunities that it afforded me. Was it a place where kids could walk to school? Yeah, for sure. Though I hear crimes are going up there lately, probably for the same reason that crime's been going up in most areas with huge income inequality, which is it's not physically possible to survive with the current cost of living, so people are just, like, breaking into Lamborghinis and stealing shit. And I just don't care. If there was ever a group of people who I care less about being robbed than Walgreens, it would be the kinds of people who drive sports cars around Beverly Hills. I don't care. I spent my entire, like, first 20 years of my life walking in the exhaust fumes of their pipes, and I don't care. I'm a city person, Logical Pretzels.
Classes is by getting a great education. And you can get a great education right now online. Maybe you want to brush up on your math.
Oh, it's the ad bit, I see. Hey, everyone, City Beautiful makes wonderful videos. I don't normally go over stuff like this, you know, in the capacity that I have here, but I wanted to see the video on stream. Check out City Beautiful, really great. You know, I really like urbanist channels. I love City Beautiful. I love Not Just Bikes, who is, of course, a friend of the channel. I love Alan Fisher, you know. Please, go sub if you haven't. Lots of really great stuff on this channel, though I haven't been on a City Beautiful kick in a little while, so there are a lot of videos that I've missed. I need to go back and take a look. Why are college towns so great? Why did humans invent cities? How did Paris become a global powerhouse? I destroyed a European city. Look at that. He destroyed a European city, you know? He did bomb Dresden or something. I don't know. Thanks, Tequila Sunset. I think that Not Just Bikes hits a very strong and positive tone with his videos, side shot. He comes across as imperative, but in a way that I find compelling. Have you actually talked to Not Just Bikes on stream? No, I haven't. Though I like him very much, and I like his content very much. He pops in chat sometimes, and it's always a delight to see him. No. None of this guilt by association crap. It's fine. I like Not Just Bikes quite a lot. Little baby. What do you think of Adam Something? I love Adam Something. Adam Something's a friend of the channel, a proper friend of the channel. Yeah, like, he's been on. No, I love Adam Something. Yeah. Adam Something makes great videos. Yeah, he's a banger factory. Yeah, you can, I mean, just look at how many of his videos I've watched. You know, there are very few YouTubers these days that I have the time to watch, like, this many of their videos. I gotta watch more. I want to learn about John Cena being Chinese or something. Bing chillin'. Excuse me. I'm going to hit the add button super quick while I pull up the stuff on Trump's indictment. I think it's been long enough, don't you? I almost hit the end stream button. Oh, jeez. One of these days I'll be rid of my cough. Probably not Jay White 10. Just a moment. All right, folks. We covered, okay, the first set of Trump indictments had to do with they were relatively inconsequential. I'm forgetting what they were about exactly. What was it? It was the first set of Trump indictments. It was I didn't put much stake in these at all. There was the bit with him sexually assaulting that woman, and then there was the Stormy Daniels campaign misappropriation. Right, that's it. That's the misappropriation of the funds. The Stormy Daniels bit. That's right. That was the first thing. I don't think that's going anywhere, right? Now, the second set of charges brought against him, the second indictment that was brought by FBI special counsel, that was devastating. You guys remember? We took a look at all 30-plus charges that were brought against him with the misappropriation of and hiding of secret documents that he kept from the federal government who tried to retrieve it from him. We know that he lied. They had evidence for it, blah, blah. Okay, folks. A third indictment has hit the towers, all right? Finally now, we know why Building 7 came down. Look at this. Ooh, guys. I can't believe it. I can't believe it, okay? I genuinely think that Donald Trump might actually make history with this one. So much is happening. He did everything right. He might actually do it. This might actually happen. Look at this. Special Counsel Jack Smith, he's the person who's handling the second wave of indictment charges as well, has brought 3 new felony charges against former President Donald Trump, including explosive claims that he asked an employee of his Mar-a-Lago club to delete security camera footage sought by investigators probing his handling of classified documents. It's over. In a 60-page superseding indictment unveiled Thursday, prosecutors also accused Trump of possessing a highly classified war plan, which he shared with people lacking security clearances months after his presidency ended. And prosecutors added a third defendant, Carlos de Oliveira, a worker at Mar-a-Lago, who's accused of joining Trump and aide Walt Nauta to seek the destruction of the security footage. Folks, how can you claim that you had a right to keep those documents while also deleting evidence of your moving them? It doesn't matter whether or not you're guilty or innocent of the initial set of crimes, of which he's guilty, by the way. Deleting evidence is a crime regardless. It doesn't matter if you would later be found to be not guilty on a set of crimes. That has to be determined by a court. And if you're destroying evidence, that's a crime in and of itself. There's no other reason why he would be asking security footage to be deleted. This is insane. This isn't even a third indictment, it's additional charge. No, it's a superseding indictment. It's an additional indictment. It's an overlapping indictment. It's a big indictment that's being added to another big indictment to mush together into a big, mushy, collective indictment. Ridiculous. It's never been this ogre, folks. The new indictment alleges that on June 27th, 2022, de Oliveira met with a Trump Organization employee in an audio closet at Mar-a-Lago and asked the person, unnamed in the indictment, to delete the security camera video sought by prosecutors in a grand jury subpoena days earlier. Guys, deleting evidence after it's been subpoenaed. This is not ambiguous. There is no question of like, oh, well, did they have a right to? No, it's so straightforward. He asked to delete it after the indictment. Oh my God. De Oliveira told the employee, the boss, that's Trump, wanted the server deleted, the new indictment alleges. The employee, quote, responded he would not know how to do that and that he did not believe he would have the rights to do that. The indictment adds, even this nobody, this person who isn't even named in the indictment is like, no, that is illegal. I am not going to do that. Prosecutors claim that when the employee told a supervisor he would need to be involved, De Oliveira repeated that the boss wanted the server deleted, and De Oliveira then asked, what are we going to do? The indictment indicates that De Oliveira spoke by phone and texted with Nauta, longtime Trump aide who's also a defendant in the case, shortly after the exchange with the unnamed employee. De Oliveira and Nauta met in person just off the Mar-a-Lago grounds, and Trump called De Oliveira later that day, the indictment alleges. There is no indication of what was said in the phone calls. De Oliveira, 56, of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, is scheduled to be arraigned Monday in Miami federal court, according to a court docket. Trump and Nauta will also need to be re-arraigned on the new indictment, but it's unclear when. The rest of the 2024 presidential campaign for Trump will just be him getting brought back to the same courthouse over and over to be rearranged. It's just going to be like 60, 70 instances of him walking in and out, protests outside the building. The perfect phone call / evidence cover-up. Harica really ruined poor Nauta. True. Oh, and guys, look, we were correct. The new indictment in the Florida case adds new details about Trump's alleged handling the classified war plan, believed to be an attack on Iran. It alleges that on July 21st, 2021, he shared the plan at his club in Bedminster, New Jersey, with two people working on a book being written by his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows. In the original indictment, prosecutors had revealed they had recorded that conversation, but they hadn't yet charged Trump with possessing that document. The new indictment charges Trump also had that classified war plan at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida. It does not specify how the document reached either location. Trump has publicly denied showing the actual document to researchers, instead claiming he had shown them news clippings. I didn't have a document per se, Trump said in a Fox News appearance last month. There was nothing to declassify. They were just newspaper stories, magazine articles, and stories and such. Each of the new obstruction of justice charges carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison. The charge of willfully retaining national defense secrets is punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Due to the operation of federal sentencing guidelines and the sheer volume of charges Trump already faced, the new charges may not significantly affect Trump's bottom line sentence if he is convicted and giving prison time. What that means is he's already facing so many years in prison that it doesn't matter if there's more years in prison. But they are likely to bolster the narrative prosecutors can present to a jury and the public. In a statement Thursday night, the Trump campaign called the new charges, quote, desperate and flailing, and said Smith is, quote, casting about for any way to salvage the case against him. Yeah. Anyway, adding clear-cut obstruction of justice charges on top of the existing 30-plus charges is phenomenal. It's so blatant, you know. Trump's never going to see the inside of a prison cell because he's going to spend so long in court having all the crimes that he's committed read back to him that he'll die there on the stand. You know, it'll take forever. Yes, if you want specific info on anything regarding the legal side of Trump's indictment and the charges against him, watch a legal video because, you know, he's a lawyer. I'm not. In my legal opinion, this is quite bad for him. That's my professional opinion, personally, you know. Then we have this article. Is that playing audio? No, it's not. Thank goodness. Are the Republicans even going to be able to run him? You can run from jail, but he's not going to be in jail. Then they say it would take 22 days. What happened to that? I'm so confused. Trump's team has been making an ongoing effort to delay the proceedings by as much as possible. They will delay. Yeah, it's because, like, remember how we said before that DeSantis's only chance was if Trump went to jail? I don't even think that's true anymore. I think that Trump from prison would get more votes than DeSantis would as a free man. It's insane. Who's Ramaswamy? It's so over for DePiss Pants. Oh yeah, speaking of. Yikes! First of all, it's over for anyone who's not Trump. But second of all, Ramaswamy has one appearance at like a Blaze TV event that's publicized and instantly gets more support in a key swing state than DeSantis. Jesus Christ. It's so over, man. I keep saying that there are like things fascists are fundamentally bad at that gives us an advantage against them. And one of them is that they're inhuman. And one of the ways this helps us is that, like, DeSantis just does not come across as a person when interacting with others. Have you guys seen this video of him? This is just from the other day. Look at this.
Yeah, it's good to meet you too. Oh, what is that? An icy? Yeah, that's probably a lot of sugar, huh? Good to see you. All right, 4H, Wayne County.
Joe Biden, when he sees somebody with an ice cream, that's a good-looking ice cream, Jack. Got an extra one for me? DeSantis, when he sees a child with a sugary drink, well, that's very sweet. That's a lot of sugar, isn't it? Okay. He just comes across as so, like, disengaged and disinterested and disgusted by everything and everyone around him, you know? Hungry. Sorry. This doesn't indicate anything significant outside the fact that he's just fucking awkward. But he really does look uncomfortable around people, you know? Donald Trump looks totally comfortable around people. You guys have seen Trump do, like, meet and greets with fans, right? He's consistently funny and engaged. You know, he's incredibly narcissistic, but people like that about him. But he's just like, bleh, you know. Bleh, truly. Anyway. What is this? MSNBC. MSNBC! I clicked on an MSNBC link? Yeah. Yeah. I don't even want to read this. Yeah. I can't believe it. It's just talking about how supporters of Trump are denying reality with regards to his charges. Which we know. That's not new or special. We know that. We know they're doing this. Is that a porn tab you've opened there? You know, I'm not entirely sure anymore either. God, that looks weird. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen in this upcoming presidential candidacy, you know? In 2016, I wasn't a YouTuber, but things were still fairly straightforward, right? It was Trump versus everyone on his side, and Bernie and Hillary on their side, and, you know, the primaries played out, and then there was the general, and Trump won. And then in 2020, Trump ran basically uncontested as the presidential candidate. Biden beat out everyone after some, you know, agonizing primary process, you know, incidences. And Biden ended up winning. But I don't know what's going to happen this time. I really don't. There's basically no primary for the Dems. The people who could potentially have done a primary against him either didn't run as a Democrat or aren't relevant. You know, Orb Mother isn't really running as a meaningful political opponent in an electoral sense. Cornel West ran Green Party after giving up on People's Party after 2 weeks. And RFK is only cared about by lunatic far-right conspiracy theorists. So much so that DeSantis was talking publicly about making him his running mate. And then over on the Republican side, you know, Trump is overwhelmingly popular compared to every other potential candidate. So it's going to be him. But he's also facing down a ton of charges. I have no idea what's going to happen. I really don't. I genuinely don't know what the narrative or the... I don't know. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I don't know. I genuinely don't. I normally have a strategy going into stuff like this. You know, you have an idea of how things are going to pan out, and you approach it in a given way. But what do I talk about here? There's no Bernie or bust narrative to discuss because there's no Bernie. You know? Marianne Williamson or bust? That's not happening. And obviously, the Republicans are bad, so, I mean, I'll be cheering for Biden as the only viable candidate who exists to run against them. I just don't know what narrative, I don't know how to frame it, basically. I guess we'll see. Yeah. Is Marianne Williamson good? Yeah, but she's not really electorally viable, so it doesn't really matter, unfortunately. Will it be a fun time? I don't know. I genuinely don't. Well, it's not like cheering for Biden ever made you any enemies. Yeah, it's just there. Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about it. Add in a second. Discourse? What is this? Oh yeah, I saw this. Why are you guys being retarded? If you date a chick and then suddenly she says she feels more like a dude and starts transitioning, does that make you gay asking for a friend? This is just the R-Traps gay argument reframed, like, and abstracted. What are you doing? Are these all joke answers? This is a real answer. Look, you're gay if you look into each other's eyes during sex, and if you avoid eye contact, you're straight. That's the only metric that consistently works, regardless of all these abstract social, whatever this nonsense is, you know. That's what makes sense. Nobody is straight because Finster exists? Oh, I'm not into Finster. I have grown increasingly intolerant with, like, the femboy aesthetic over time, I have to say. Or the femboy trans, whatever, you know. Sure. Well, you can have these experiences yourself if you want, but I've certainly talked to a lot of people like this, and my overriding conclusion is that people who dress like that are annoying. Finster might not be. I don't know. I'm just saying that as a general tendency, it's like a red flag now. Vosh vomits every time he sees Kanye. No. Kanye knows fashion. Kanye does not dress like your basic bitch femboy. Not even remotely. Don't denigrate them like that. Kanye dresses very well in this, like, streetwear, goth, femme blend that I'm pretty impressed by. They've got a really good handle on fashion. It's not just like your Amazon basic striped knee socks skirt, flowy shirt with, wide sleeves so that they dangle around and stuff. Yeah, it's whatever. Dress however, whatever makes you happy. We're all annoying. I'm annoying. It's fine. You also call women and gays annoying, so I don't know. Well, feminine people are annoying. Let's be fair here. So are masculine people. Just people generally. Androgynous people, super annoying. Okay, stop. Today was destined from the start to be a shorter stream. I streamed longer the other day, but unfortunately, I woke up today and found that my cough had become an issue in the morning. For the past couple weeks, I haven't done any night streams because my cough gets worse at the night, but it was an issue this morning as well. I think the reason for this is because I need to double down on some of the medicine that I bought. I got off some of the medicine early because I didn't want to overdo it, but I think I could do for a little more in that particular field. So I'm going to further commit to that, and it'll be fine. I'm admittedly beset by a cough. Let me read these here super chats, okay? The Superintendent, thank you for the $5. Hey Vosh, just wanted to say as a former right-wing POS, your content is genuinely enlightening and one of the turns to my social learning. Hey, I really appreciate that. Just remember, you're the one who did the hard work, okay? Thank you. It's very kind of you. Benjamin Gilbert Lift with the $20 and $10 consecutively. Thank you so much, as always, my friend. TYT just did a video attacking Bernie with the title Democrats Do Something. Can you watch it? It's 9 minutes. No. I can't do 2 TYT. Okay, is it Anna or is it Jenk? Is it Anna or is it Jenk? I'll check. Because if it's Anna, I'm not doing it again. I can't oversaturate like that. Also, as bothered as I am by Anna's decision to huff paint fumes, you know, I don't want to, like, dedicate a significant amount of my, you know, of my content to ragging on her. We have to portion that out properly. I'm afraid I don't see anything called that.
If we're gonna sit around and wait,
Now.
now you might. If we're gonna sit around,
I don't see anything called that. Sorry. But I love you anyway. What happened to JonTron? JonTron repeated white supremacist propaganda. Or white nationalist propaganda, I should say. Crime Candle, thank you for the $5. Have I heard of the Supernova Club in Soto by the owner Jack Levine being cooked on social media with abuse allegations? Supernova Club, Zach Levine. Didn't a link go to that? Zach Levine? Didn't something mention that at some point during this stream? I don't know anything about it, but I can look into it at some point. Lil Loggy, thank you for the 5 and 2 both. Really appreciate it. I liked the Barbie movie, and I'm certainly not the kind of person it was, like, aesthetically pushed towards. So, you know. Dang Prol, thank you for the 5. Zobrambi, thank you for the $2. I hate it when libs mention us for points like staff. I assume by us you mean black people, because that was the context of when you would have sent that in as a donation. Yes. It's very patronizing. Benjamin. Rick and He-Man 1320, thank you for the $5 both. I really appreciate that. I think it's a tad bit concerning they mentioned lead and the materials needed for a superconductor. Lead in general is awful. Yeah, but if in the context of a superconductor, I think that's fine, right? We're not talking about something that's interacting with stuff we eat or drink. You know, plus it protects us from radiation. So if a nuke goes off and you're near a superconductor, then maybe it'll be able to protect a little disk of you from, you know, the rays. Use tax to electric vehicles because they're not getting a tax from gas. If this leads to better efficiency, how we pay for oil subsidies. Yeah, He-Man 1320. My hot take on taxes is that I don't think you should have to pay a gas tax or a road tax unless you have a vehicle license to you. I think that those taxes should be rolled into a fee that is associated with vehicle ownership. And also, I think that fee should be tripled if you have a large car. Or more. Balthazar, thank you so much for the $20. Feel like the crystal ball segments need a my wife or crack pipe thing now. Talk about nominative determinism. Chat is the one doing the my wife bit, okay? You know, that's Chat's doing. That's not her, but you know, she's certainly worthy of you know, derogatory mention. Thank you for the additional $20, Balthazar. Road wear tax would fix both those at once. Yeah. Anything to that effect. You know, the wear and tear on roads is so much less from a sedan than it is from one of those gigantic super trucks. Like the trucks that people buy, those like big open back trucks that are huge and heavy and have gigantic tall bumpers. That like, it like significantly more. It's like an exponential thing. Fuck. Benjamin Gilbert Leaf, thank you so much for the $100. My goodness, man. I am the Senate. Justice Samuel Palpatine Alito. Yeah, and we didn't have to get Alito. All we had to do was embrace Hillary Clinton as a savior of America, you know? But we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that. That was too much. It was too much. That was a lot to ask of us. Fuck the Dems. Fuck the DNC. Matt Fury, thanks the 5. Now gay in practice, not just in theory. Thank you for your dating advice. It helped me get a boyfriend. He's a Vosh fan as well, funnily enough. Nice. I'm happy to hear it. Thank you very much. I'm glad you can put praxis to theory. This is the TYT video. What?
Progressive lawmakers.
Congressional progressives make a move for real. Nope. It's on a conspiracy. Oh, well, it's both of them, I guess. No. Maybe in the future. Alito was W. Oh, sorry. Who am I thinking of then? Who was the person who McConnell held up? Why was I thinking Alito? Who's the person that McConnell held up for? Gorsuch. Okay, sorry. Well, Alito would have no power if Hillary Clinton won. So, yeah. Gorsuch. Great name. Astatine, Alex Force, thanks the tier 1 sub. Unfound a Revenge, thank you for the 10 bucks. Do you think there's a way to address the problem with dating apps, i.e. the fact that men vastly outnumber women, or should you just not use them to meet people? Well, dating apps are a lot less imbalanced if you move away from the hookup tier apps, right? Like, Tinder is mostly men, but Hinge or Bumble are much less disproportionate. Hinge, in particular, I feel, is like, at least it seems way the fuck more balanced. But also, a big part of the problem is that men are just kind of awful. It's not like women don't enjoy intimacy and casual sex and stuff, but like there are so many imbalances here, right? There are a lot of problems here. It can be fixed. It's fixable. It can be done. Horizon and Dan29A, thank you for the $5 both. Yeah, I don't like the Lorax. Sorry, Dan. Not doing it. Tux Temperament, thank you for the $8. We did talk about that tweet, yes. Also, howdy. Skill Will, thanks the tier 2 sub. Barbie being a movie that is textually leftist and making cons cry, piss, shit, and cum is so funny. Well, textually feminist. I wouldn't go as far as leftist, though. It is more than just banal liberal feminism, which is nice. Big Cheese Wheel, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Wait, what was this? Also, women don't have a socially programmed need to have a partner, too. Men and women are both encouraged to have partners for slightly different reasons. For men, it's pathetic if you don't have one, and for women, you're running out the clock if you don't have one. But those pressures exist in both directions, though I agree they have different effects on people's behavior. Big Cheese Whale, have a good day at the DSA National Convention, debating the libs, defeat them, or rock them, whatever ends up working, right? Scurvy Bones, thank you for the 555. I'm familiar, don't worry, I've talked with them. Belsin Forma, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Korean is written with Hangul, which is grouped alphabetic parts and looks like this. Yes, the little circles, that's right. I always get that mixed up and think that's Chinese, the other one. Because I can recognize Japanese, of course, because I watch anime. And they have it on their signs and such. But, I don't always recognize the difference between those. Shake, thank you for the 4 tier 1 subs. Wait, didn't you give this dono over Super Chat? Wait, Balthazar. Are you Sake? Did you both donate the same thing the same time on different sites? No. Concerning. Juliet Mindset, thank you for the $5. Of course I did, Juliet. I'm sorry to hear that you have to move out of Missouri, but on the plus side, you are moving out of Missouri, which is nice. Dino Man, thank you for the $5. I'm sure I will. And yes, hopefully it turns out well. Thorns, thank you for the $5. Chicks in cargo pants with a buzz cut and tank top are the master race, and I will not tolerate anyone. So you like military-looking girls, or like Sarah Connor shit? Yeah, that's definitely a good aesthetic. Rippy, thanks for the $5. Look at this right now. Is this going to be copyright?
Willing and knowing participants in the use
No.
of terrorism in Poland, in the economic exploitation of Poland in a way which led to the death by starvation of a large number of people, the deportation to Germany as slave laborers of over 1 million Poles, and in a program involving the murder of at least 3 million Jews.
The funny thing is that this is unironically kind of what the Nazi officials actually did when confronted the Nuremberg trials. You know, we now universally know of the "I was just following orders" bit as a bad argument because they all did it. There's this part that I love in the Kurt Vonnegut book called Mother Night, which is about an Allied spy who was an artist in Germany. He was an artist in Germany. The Nazis took over, and as the Nazis grew more powerful, an Allied spy approached him and was like, "Hey, would you like to be a spy for us? You don't seem to like these Nazis very much." The main character says, okay, I'm simplifying things, but he was a prominent artist. I mean, he met Hitler personally. In fact, he drew anti-Semitic caricatures of Jews for the Nazi government because that's what the Nazi government wanted artists to do. Well, sorry, he wasn't an artist like a drawer. He was a playwright or a writer, I think. Whatever the case is, he facilitated in the downfall of Nazi Germany, because he fed a lot of secrets to the Allies. I'm spoiling the book Mother Night, which is an amazing book, by the way, but you should read it anyway. Anyway, the war ends and Hitler kills himself, and the protagonist is roped up in the Nazi officials who are going to be tried and likely hanged at Nuremberg because he was influential enough in the German party, or so the Nazi party. He was considered like a propaganda minister, basically. So at Nuremberg, they're going to hang this Allied spy. And the problem is he can't say he's an Allied spy because it was a secret. His involvement was a secret. The person who reached out to him to make him a spy did so outside the purview of like the way they normally recruit spies. So there wasn't an official paper trail indicating that he was a spy. And at that point, they didn't want to claim ownership of him as a spy because he had done so much awful anti-Semitic propagandizing. Yeah, he was a radio announcer. Yeah, so he was like on the radio screaming about Jews for years in Germany while feeding secrets in those radio announcements to the Allies. Like the way he would like crackle or cough or clear his throat. They were signals sent to the Allies to help bring about the downfall of Germany, troop movements and stuff like that. But he was so bad and so good at his job at being anti-Semitic that they wanted to kill him too. And the Allies didn't want to take ownership of him as a spy because he was that odious. But the protagonist of Mother Night is in the cell. He's waiting to be tried at Nuremberg. He's almost certainly going to be hanged. And he ends up having a conversation with a Nazi official. It was a high up one, a real one. Goebbels? I don't remember who exactly it was. And they were talking through the cell bars. And Goebbels was like, "I've been speaking with my lawyer, and we have a strategy that I'm going to employ that I think will turn this around." And the protagonist of Mother Night, sort of flippantly says, "What, you're going to say you were just following orders?" And Goebbels looks at him like wide-eyed and said, "Who told you that?" And he did this with multiple people. So like the joke being like they were all idiots, like they were all desperately trying to save their asses and it didn't work. Anyway, the conclusion of the film is that the Allied officer who recruited the protagonist to begin with ends up making the secret known, like reveals that he was brought in as a spy, that the Allies had this vile Nazi minister as a spy and saved the protagonist's life. And because he was going to be hanged for sure. And the protagonist is released from the trial because he's a spy. He was acting on behalf of the Allies. He walks down the steps of the courthouse, and then he decides he has nothing to live for, and he hangs himself. It's a book. The implication being that he wanted to be killed at the trials, and that the Allied officer imposed himself without asking. He was looking forward to being killed after all the things that he said. Did I say film? It's book. What's the book called? Mother Night. Is that a true story? No, it is fiction. But it's valuable in a non-fictitious capacity as well. Stop donating. Balthasar228, thank you for the 10 and 5 donations both. What the fuck is up with you? Thank you. Not gonna lie, a Trump RFK Jr. ticket sounds bonkers. Yeah, it would be pretty interesting. Garland was held up, not Gorsuch. Yeah, Garland was held up? No, but Gorsuch replaced, or like Garland was held up, but then Gorsuch took the spot he was going to take. Beefless Stew, thank you for the $5. Happy Galactic New Year, folks. Year of the White Overtone Wizard. I have no idea what you mean. Vosh, my band is headlining El Corazon in Seattle on Thursday. You should come. Corazon? What venue? No promises, but what venue? You can email me. Frantic Poison, thank you for the $5. We're going to college this August. Any advice you can give? Yeah, go to local events, look at things that are posted on papers stapled to telephone poles, and go to things, meet people, and talk to your professors. Get on good terms with a lot of people. College is just as much about making connections as it is about learning. Appalachian Anarchist, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate that. Congratulations on your 12th anniversary with your wife. I hope you have a wonderful time making yourself a nice steak dinner. I'm glad you liked seeing Ruben. And Benjamin, thank you for the $10. I'm afraid that I cannot talk about why Destiny 2 is a bad game because I've never played it. Am I cognizant? Thank you for the 5. Yes, I saw this, that Niger's state broadcasters are just playing weird military... music videos on TV right now. Classic coup shit, you know? Coup, people orchestrating a coup love to put wacky stuff on TV. They love that. Is Ruben still sleeping in the hut? Yes. Ooh. He's sleeping. I'm not going to bother him. All right. I love you guys. I'm probably not going to stream tomorrow because tomorrow is when I normally run my D&D campaign. But you know what comes after tomorrow? The day after tomorrow. And that's a day that I do normally stream, which is great because I love streaming. I'm going to hit the add button one more time because I can. Kate, thank you for the $5. That's entirely too kind of you. Now, who the fuck is streaming right now? Shark! You ever heard of this guy called Shark 300? Really, I'm just the white version of him. I'm a pale imitator. Let me send you guys over there. Bum, bum, bum. Have a good time.